to the Final Four. Ohio State is headed to New Orleans.
Today, the Elite Eight is down to 6. Baylor, number 1 overall, Kentucky.
Absolute madness.
Kansas.
Here we go.
Number 1 seed, North Carolina.
Oh, my goodness.
The battle continues for the Final Four.
And welcome to the road to the Final Four on CBS. I'm Greg Gumbel. Louisville and Ohio State already packing their bags for New Orleans today. 2 more teams will join them as we fill out the 2012 Final Four. In just a few minutes, we'll tip off today's regional finals doubleheader. The action begins with the South region down in Atlanta, where the number 3 Baylor Bears will face off against Kentucky, the Wildcats, the overall number 1 seed in the tournament. Then, at 5:05 Eastern Time, we'll head out to St. Louis, where the number 2 Kansas Jayhawks will square off against the top seed in the Midwest region, the North Carolina Tar Heels. I am joined by my own road warriors, Greg Anthony, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and our special studio guest this weekend, Kansas State head coach Frank Martin. Frank, I've got to ask you, if you like a challenge, then that's what's facing Coach Drew and the Baylor Bears today.
Oh, absolutely. But I think we spoke about this yesterday. You're in that locker room and you doubt that you got a chance to win, you wouldn't be playing in this game. Those kids at Baylor, they believe. They've beaten Kansas, which was their demon going into postseason, beat them in conference play. Those kids are real good. I think we pick on their warts a little bit too much and don't give them enough credit for the kind of team that they have.
You've been in games where everybody was against you and thought the other guy was going to win?
Yes, and the one thing about it rallies the team together. But I think the one thing that Pierre Jackson has to do today for Baylor is he's got to be the best decision maker on the floor, because he has to decide if we're going to run and when we're going to slow it down. You can't always look at your coach and look at Drew on the sideline and go, oh, does he want us to run? Does he want us to pick this pace up? He's going to have to decide, am I giving it to Heslip? If I give it to Perry Jones III? Or are we going to get into this running game with Kentucky, what they're the best in the country at?
You know, I've always said I love Kentucky. I love their depth. I love their ability to defend, push everything toward Mr. Davis. I just think they're the best team in the country. And if Baylor gets in a run and gun shootout with them, they're going to get ran out this building.
All right, guys, right now, LG presents life's good moments, and life was very good for Kentucky Friday night as the Wildcats avenged their regular season loss to Indiana.
Got to get back in transition.
Jones dunks it down. Kentucky is moving on. The Wildcats ratchet up the heat in the second half. On to the Elite Eight.
Impressive performance by Kentucky, and obviously with an awesome opportunity here to advance to the Final Four. No one doubts the fact that Kentucky is the more talented team, but Baylor is talented enough to win this basketball game if they execute and put forth the game plan that Coach Drew has for them.
All right, Greg, in today's doubleheader game, Kansas will battle North Carolina to fill the last vacancy in this year's Final Four. But the big question surrounding the Tar Heels concerns starting point guard Kendall Marshall, who sat out Friday night's game with his injured right wrist. North Carolina team personnel told our Craig Sager that Marshall participated fully in practice this morning, not just dribbling, but that he remains a game-time decision as to whether or not he'll play. However, CBSSports.com is reporting that Marshall is out for today's game. So that...
What, is it game time already?
Pretty close.
The game starts in 10 minutes.
No, it starts at 5. That's that other game. So I'm like, how's it a game time decision? And we know that he doesn't play. I think the one thing that I've talked about earlier, I think that if you're Kansas, if you're coaching Kansas, Bill Self has 2 game plans. He has to have 2 game plans in his head if I'm coaching that team. But I'm not relaying that to my team. I'm only giving you one. But with Kendall Marshall in the lineup, I'm not pressuring the basketball as much because he wants you to pressure him to find people. I think Stillman White does not want you to pressure him. This will be something difficult and uncomfortable for him. So if you're coaching Kansas, I think he has to have 2 game plans, but he just can't relay them to his team.
Meanwhile, am I wrong in thinking this, that if you're Roy Williams, you really have to figure out, can I win this game without him? Without Kendall Marshall.
They just won a game without him.
Right. Can win this one.
But I know they're playing a better team. They've had to one game to adjust. I still like North Carolina to win this game. I think they got a better front line, a bigger front line, and I think they got more depth with McAdoo coming in. You know, I still like it. Stillman White is going to be better today. He won't be as nervous. And number one, let's be honest, Taylor has not played well, the Kansas point guard, but I still like North Carolina because I just think they got a better team.
Coach.
I'll say this, and I hear what Kenny's saying, and the dilemma Bill has is he doesn't want to get into his bench very deep. He wants to play his top 5 guys a lot of minutes, and if he starts extending his defense, it creates more possessions. That gives Carolina, who's got the greater depth, probably the opportunity to put Kansas in foul trouble because more offensive rebound opportunities, more post touches, and I think that's the dilemma Bill faces. Kansas is very good at making you score through their defense. They don't give you cracks.
What's your early indicator in this game? What do you look for?
Well, I just look at the fact to see if Stillman White can get early offense and if the bigs for Carolina run. Because what I saw against Ohio, they didn't run the floor to the rim because they knew they weren't going to get the basketball. The other thing about extending your defense, if you're Kansas, it actually opens the floor up. And I think the key for Kansas is to make this a 5-on-5 game. That allows you to contain penetration one-on-one, which keeps bodies on bodies, and then you don't get dominated on the offensive glass. I think that Kansas, if Kendall Marshall doesn't play, is going to win this basketball game. I think they're a little bit better defensively, and I think Tyshawn Taylor will show up today because he'll be aggressive at attacking the rim.
You know what we haven't checked out a while? We haven't checked your bracket. How are you doing?
Well, it's up and down. Well, I got both of these teams right. Kentucky's still alive. Syracuse lost. But
Yogi, you got 2 teams that could actually win it.
I got 2 teams. If North Carolina, Kentucky play, I feel pretty good about my bracket.
Okay.
Yeah, you put it like this.
Y'all like showing them X's, don't you?
No, I put it like this. Yours isn't as bad as the rest of the countries this year.
Thank you, Kenny.
You're about on par this time.
Thank you.
You're on par.
Thank you for joining us on the road to the Final Four. Coming up, Baylor and Kentucky, the winner, on their way to New Orleans in the Final Four. We'll see you back here at halftime. Enjoy the game, everyone, here on CBS.
A case as toxic as the attorney it brings back to town. Malcolm McDowell returns.
I thought I told you to stay out of Miami.
A new CSI Miami, CBS tonight.
Well, the green jacket means you're part of history. You're some of the greatest players that have ever played the game and won this event.
People are selling their old rides, looking for something new.
I love it.
How many miles to the tank?
437.
How impressive is that on a scale of 1 to 10?
13.
13.
Now, get into a new Escape with up to $3,000 total cash back. Only at your Ford dealer.
They're selling their old cars. I'm getting them into a new Ford. Is it fair to say you're power hungry?
Yeah. I'm really curious about EcoBoost. Like the power of a V6.
The fuel efficiency of a Ford?
Now, get into a new Edge with up to $3,000 total cash back. Only at your Ford dealer.
There's nothing like fresh, hot pizza. But who's got time for delivery? Or to wait 20 minutes at a pizza place? Customers just love our pizza. They can just walk into Speedway and walk out with fresh from the oven pizza by the slice, without the wait. And on top of great pizza, we've got great jumbo hot dogs, breakfast tornadoes, spicy chicken, and Swiss sandwiches. Even our new cheeseburger links.
Great choices for a meal on the go. And it's always 2 for just $2.22 at Speedway.
You've got my word on it.
We're on your way, the convenience stores of Speedway.
Our family goes for big savings at Kroger's March to Savings event. Buy any 10 of these, save $5 instantly.
Save $5 at checkout when you buy any 10 participating products. Just look for the special tags at Kroger.
Look for the March to Savings tags on 2 liters of Pepsi drinks. Just 99 cents each when you buy any 10 participating items. And select bags of Lay's potato chips and Doritos are $1.99 each when you buy any 10. Only during the March to Savings event at Kroger.
Are you suffering from Niederrubin-Naus syndrome or NRNS? When I say corned beef, do you make an involuntary yummy sound? Ever suck Thousand Island dressing through a straw? Help is here. Arby's classic Reuben sandwich. Freshly carved corned beef topped with Swiss sauerkraut and Thousand Island dressing. Made fresh for you on toasty marble rye. And for extreme cases of NRNS, we recommend the new Super Reuben with corned beef and turkey for twice the meat. Arby's, it's good mood food.
Bay at Mall next to Macy's.
National championship hopes reside with 6 talented hoop squads, and 2 of them are set to meet in the South Regional Final. Kentucky has lived up to its #1 overall seed. The Wildcat powerhouse, led by a group of fresh faces, has been unstoppable in its quest for Kentucky's first national championship since 1998. Baylor has made a bold statement this year with a powerful inside presence and a perimeter game to match as the Bears find themselves 1 game from their first Final Four since 1950. The winner advances to New Orleans. Baylor and Kentucky next on CBS. City of Atlanta, Georgia. There is the Georgia Dome, which will host the 75th Final Four next year. But in the meantime, we've got 2 final pieces to the puzzle to settle here on this Sunday. The last 2 to make it to New Orleans. Here it'll be Kentucky against Baylor, with the winner advancing on to the Big Easy to face Louisville next Saturday in the national semifinals. Hello, friends. Jim Nance, along with my partner, Clark Kellogg. Baylor, Kentucky. When you hear that combo, what do you think?
I'm talking about up-tempo athleticism. It should be a fun one to watch them. Both of these teams like to play in the open court.
What are you looking for out of the Baylor Bears here today? They got a 30-win season.
Jim, they can attack from a lot of different spaces. Brady Heslip is an outstanding three-point shooter. They've got presence inside with PJ3, Perry Jones III, and Quincy Acey had 20 points and 15 rebounds on Friday night.
And let's go to our technology here. Virtual Madness, and there's Heslip being highlighted.
Yeah, he's highlighted because he's sizing up the guy he's going to have to lay some wood on to free up Perry Jones for an alley-oop pass. The back screen, Heslip, big screen on small screen on big, and then PJ3 at the rim. And this is a rocket launching throwdown. Off the baseline, out of bounds play. Back screen again, Heslip and Quincy Acey all alone. Watch out, Kenny Freeze. That's not the kind of picture you want to be in.
I'll tell you, the floor is still quaking after that one from Friday night. Let's talk about the Kentucky Wildcats, and what are you looking for out of them?
Speed to burn. This is a balanced team. They get at you in the paint. They go over the top. They can knock down perimeter shots. There is no weakness with this Kentucky Wildcats team, especially offensively. Tremendous balance and versatility and a lot of different weapons.
All right, Clark, little equal time here on the Virtual Madness for the Wildcats.
Want to show you the team speed from offense, retreating back to defense. That's Deron Lamb who took the shot. He gets back quickly to defend the play, and then watch how quickly Kentucky comes right back at you. They won't convert here, but wanted to give you an indication of how fast this team goes from offense to defense to offense.
It's Baylor, Kentucky, and it's next on CBS.
In the final round,
The audience choice ingredient?
Bud Light.
And here we go.
Looks like Chef Dubois is emulsifying the Bud Light into a foam. What's his competitor doing?
He appears to be having a really good time.
A Bud Light reduction for Dubois. And his opponent?
Also improvising nicely. Let's see that again.
Judges.
I like the use of the pressure cookers to tenderize the beef.
But also the use of the cell phone to order the pizza.
It's the sure sign of a good time. It's just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Sorry, Chef, we're gonna need more ingredient.
Division I student athletes have higher SAT and ACT scores than college-bound students.
The number of us receiving diplomas
is at an all-time high.
African American males who are student athletes
are 10% more likely to graduate.
Still think we're just a bunch of dumb jocks?
You need to do your homework. There are over 400,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us will be going pro in something other than sports.
On that road to the national championship and New Orleans, we've got Baylor, Kentucky coming up, and let's go over to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. If Baylor's going to pull this off, they're going to have to do it without those neon jerseys because they're the lower seed. The NCAA said that they've got to wear the black ones. The coach, Scott Drew, very superstitious, did ask the NCAA if they can stay with the neon jerseys, but the NCAA denied them. Remember, they are 4-0 in those jerseys, but they're going for the blackout today, guys.
Oh, there you go. All right, Tracy. And a lot of blue in this building, as you might expect. And the Bears and the Cats will tip it off in a moment.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings, AT&T, UPS, and by Scottrade.
This is Lawn Ranger, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. In here, the landscaping business grows with snow. To keep big winter jobs on track, AT&T provided a mobile solution that lets everyone from field workers to accounting initiate, bill, and track work in real time.
I can't live under a dome in Minnesota. That's why there's guys like me.
It's a network of possibilities, helping you do what you do even better.
Everybody remembers the shot. But what about the pass? No pass, no shot. You need a special kind of player to get the ball exactly where it needs to be, exactly when it needs to be there. That changes the game. And that is what we do.
Why did I roll over my IRA to Scottrade?
For starters, it didn't cost me anything, and I got a $100 cash bonus for rolling over by April 16th.
I like bonuses.
Plus, at Scottrade, there are thousands of commission-free investments.
And if I need help, I can find it online, by phone, or at one of over 500 Scottrade locations.
It's why more investors with IRAs are saying, I'm with Scottrade.
This is me. Yep, born cool. This is my new Civic, and I love it. This is where I work. These are my tickets to the show of the decade. These are my friends. And this, I couldn't live without this. Oh, this is the girl I went out with last night. Hey.
Hey.
You gonna make it tonight? This is going to be awesome.
The all-new Civic EXL, the most technologically advanced Civic ever. Only from Honda.
Players change teams, teams change cities, and I am coming to CBS Sports Network.
Sports, news, smack, Rome. Weeknights at 6 starting Tuesday, April 3rd on CBS Sports Network.
These two programs have met 6 times. Kentucky's won all of them. They also, by the way, met in the 1948 national title game. And there is Scott Drew, who's directed this Baylor program really from the ruins to now a premier program. They were one step from the Final Four 2 years ago, and here they are again. One win away from making it to the promised land. Jackson, who's had 10 assists each of the last 2 games. Heslip, the sharpshooter. Acey, the dunk machine. Miller and Jones. They all can be such strong contributors. They all average in double figures, as does the first 5 for Kentucky with Teague Lamb, Kit Gilchrist, Terrence Jones, and Anthony Davis. For head coach John Calipari, brought a team to the Sweet 16 for the 5th consecutive year. Memphis on to Kentucky, had the Cats back to the Final Four last year. The Wildcats' first trip to the Final Four in 13 years. Here is the Baylor road to. Actually, South Dakota State had an early 12-point lead. Baylor came back to win. Heslop hit 9 threes in the victory against Colorado. And then a 22-4 start on Friday night. Baylor in its win against Xavier, winning by 5. The Kentucky Cats, the Wildcats, the #1 overall seed of the tournament. First, Western Kentucky. And then Iowa State. And then that matchup, and it did not disappoint. What a scene it was. Indiana and Kentucky in a shootout with the Calipari side winning at 102-90. And what a performance, I might add, from the free throw line, Clark. 35 out of 37 by Kentucky in that game.
95%, and that was really a turning point, particularly in the second half. As I reviewed that game from Friday night, the fact that Kentucky was able to get into the bonus relatively early and then cash in, huge in keeping Indiana at bay.
Les Jones, Ryan Kersey, Mike Stewart officiating, and the outside jumper drops for Anthony Davis, who by his lofty standards had a rather pedestrian line against Xavier with all that foul, against Indiana with that foul trouble. 9 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Most people would love to have that.
Exactly, and he did it in 25 minutes, Jim.
Bounce pass over to Acey, who waits and just lays it in. No dunk this time, but he'll take the 2.
No question about it, and that's going to be one of the key things to keep an eye on. Can Quincy Acey do damage in the paint against a very formidable front line from Kentucky?
Acey had 20 points and 15 rebounds in the victory against the Musketeers.
Good matchup here, 2 of the top forwards in the country.
Jones lays it over to his running mate Davis, who has the first 4 for the Kentucky side. Nice assist by Terrence Jones.
Terrific assist, and that's what every Kentucky player can do, Jim. Drive and throw it at the rim for Anthony Davis if help comes up the lane.
Stripped away by Teague. Up ahead, Jones. Acey chasing after him. Oh, that was a big body blow. Hold on a minute. Just gonna call. Are they just gonna call it a foul here?
Well, it looks like Mike Stewart is indicating. We'll see, but it looks like he may be indicating flagrant 1 or review. I think it's review. Let's take a look. Good effort, good play on the ball. I think that's just a hard foul. Unfortunate that Jones takes a spill, but in my estimation, that's a hard, clean foul. 2 shots, no flagrant. That's how I'm viewing it right now.
Well, the replay didn't look nearly as violent as it did watching it in live action. And
no,
of course,
that's a play on the ball, contact with the body, and an unfortunate spill into the back of the basket support.
And Acey is so powerful, so strong that anytime you collide with him, you're going to see some tremors.
And Terrence Jones isn't a featherweight now.
That's true.
I mean, he's about 250 lbs as well. I think that's 2 free throws, and let's play. Uh-oh, the way Scott Drew is
doesn't
responding.
Look happy.
Well, and it doesn't. Boy, that's right on the line for me. That is right on the line for me.
Flagrant 1 foul, and this is, again, how it's all been clarified. And by the way, you may not agree with that call, but I like the way now there's been a better understanding of a flagrant 1 versus a flagrant 2 as the NCAA head of officials, John Adams, and all of the people involved in this process, I think, did a very smart thing here with this.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, it clarifies and simplifies what an F1 and F2 are. And again, in my estimation, the officials have to make the judgment in full speed time without the benefit of replay. They did review it, and in Mike Stewart's estimation, he thought it must have been excessive contact there. That's the only way, because it wasn't above the shoulders.
Lamb baseliner. And that is Baylor underneath, with Miller getting it back to the Bears side.
An offensive foul, clearly Quincy Miller. Sometimes when you're too upright handling the ball as a big guy, you have a tendency to lean off with your offhand. See, he's not low enough. As you saw, as he stood up, Jim, that's when he pushed off. If he'd have stayed low, I think his base would have given him a chance to make his move without pushing off.
Miller, a decorated recruit by way of Chicago, same city that delivered Anthony Davis to the Kentucky Cats. So there's history with those two having competed. That ball bounced off of Jackson's leg, so no backcourt violation. As Teague races it up, 12 on the shot clock. Miller blocks it.
Boy, not a good decision by Teague to challenge Quincy Miller, who was able to get a bead on him from the three-point line in.
AC takes it inside, and there's the block by Davis. Up ahead, Lamb back to Davis. Misses the dunk. It looked like it had been executed to perfection. Now numbers for Baylor. Inside and 2 for Jackson. Lamb coming back with it to Davis, and somehow back of the rim.
That pass was just for the speed that Davis was running, that pass was just not quite on target, just a tad off. Still should have made the play.
And Miller has the position underneath. Of course, what made it electrifying, it all been set up by the block by Davis and almost got it the other end. Here's AC driving in. Hold on, that's going against Davis.
And the right call. Anthony Davis was not in legal guarding position. Excellent take by Quincy AC here. And there you see Davis clearly sliding in to the driving AC. Never had established both feet on the ground in legal guarding position.
So AC will shoot 2 free throws. The senior out of Mesquite, Texas. And that victory in the Sweet 16 round gave Quincy AC and his fellow seniors, talking about Anthony Jones and Fred Ellis, the winningest class in Baylor history. That was their 100th win on Friday night. And AC was talking about after the game how meaningful that was to him to be the first group to ever reach that figure.
That's a big number, Jim. A meaningful milestone for AC and his classmates.
Miller blocks it as Jones gets it back over to Teague. 18 on the shot clock.
Marcus Teague has already had 2 shots of his rejected. He's going to have to be selective in when he penetrates against this long front line of Baylor's.
He'll be thinking about it the rest of the game as Kid Gilchrist goes inside. And that is pulled down by Jones.
Again, the shot bothered by the Baylor length.
Miller, 3-point shot. Yes, right over Davis. Couple of Chicago kids squaring up with that one, and it's Miller who has a couple of blocks. It's the shot. Kentucky has its biggest deficit of the tournament so far.
What? You got a dog?
Yeah, he's a rescue dog. Name's Wego.
What kind of name is that?
Call him.
Here we go.
No. Yep.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Thank you. Here we go.
It's the sure sign of a good time. Just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guitar player is sick. But don't worry, we found a replacement. Mr. Peter Frampton.
Hello, Dale's Roadhouse.
Unexpected pleasures are the best part of life. Why not drive one every day? Introducing the all-new Verano. It's unexpected and unprecedented luxury for a car this size.
Nice.
The all-new Verano from Buick.
We hit something.
Cannot imagine how thirsty I am. What is the year? 1972. I have spent the last 2 centuries locked in a box.
Welcome home.
I shall restore the family to its glory. How soon can the horses be ready?
We don't have horses. We have a Chevy.
A woman doctor. What an age this is.
Is he for real?
I am a vampire.
Congratulations.
Dark Shadows. Experience it in IMAX May 11th.
Which month would I lose to get more March? More of this? January? Yeah, definitely January.
2 bank accounts, 2 apartments, 2 phone bills.
1 social security number.
Someone's an imposter.
A new person of interest. Then, how do you catch a casino killer? Always bet on Jane.
What I'm about to say might sound like a crazy idea.
He said crazy idea.
Always a bad sign.
A new mentalist after a new person of interest. CBS Thursday.
Baylor off to a good start, going to circle the ball. 6'9" Quincy Miller has it. Circle Heslip out at the three-point line, and Pierre Jackson going to go to the rim. Because Heslip is at the three-point line, Terrence Jones fades to him and doesn't realize that nobody is picking up Jackson. And well done in the open court. And there's RG3, the Heisman Trophy winner from Baylor.
And his football coach, to our right there, Artie Briles. Baylor, the only team still in the NCAA tournament of the 6 still alive to have won a bowl game this year in football and still have an active team going for the championship in basketball.
They actually have 2 active teams going, don't they?
Yeah, they do. The women's team, of course, just number 1 from the start of the year and undefeated in the Final 8. Darius Miller.
A.J. Walton on the floor, Jim, and this again makes Baylor a much more effective defensive team on the perimeter. They go smaller and more active, although Heslip is the guy who went out instead of Miller, which is the case, which was the case on Friday night when A.J. Walton came in.
Kentucky's now missed its last 7 shots. That one was halfway down for Davis.
Yeah, that was a good look.
Last 8 points belong to the Bears. I mentioned Darius Miller on the floor, number 1 for Kentucky. The senior's had a great tournament so far.
He sure has. He's been splendid shooting the ball.
And it came over to help influence that missed jumper by Quincy Miller of Baylor. Kid Gilchrist. Tough shot, gets it to drop.
You can see Baylor, after makes, is content just to walk it up. They'll run when the opportunity presents itself, but after makes, they want to play in the half court and try to take advantage of a good size, of the size they have up front.
And that's off of Jones. Quincy Miller has 5 rebounds and a couple of blocks. What was that?
The Dodge Journey was made to explore the real world. It has underseat storage to bring everything, available seating for up to 7 people to take everyone, and the grip of available all-wheel drive to go everywhere. Think of it as a search engine, helping you browse the real world.
This March, get no extra charge 3rd row seating, plus 0% financing on Dodge Journey.
At a big company, new ideas don't usually come from the local store level, but a great idea can come from anywhere.
I'm Brian Edler, and I created the new Domino's Parmesan Bread Bites. They're freshly baked pieces of bread with garlic and Parmesan.
The test kitchens, the Domino's haven't come up with this, but the guy in Findlay, Ohio did. That's what's awesome about this.
You know, I think Brian should be the CEO of Domino's.
No.
Get 16 Parmesan bread bites for just $1 when you order 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for $5.99 each. Share your ideas at thinkoven.com.
Today, we stand against the tyranny of meager travel cards.
Battle speech, right?
May I? Capital One is issuing a Venture Double Miles Challenge. Show us how much you spent last year. It will give you 2 miles for every $1 spent on your travel reward card, up to 100,000 miles.
Hawaii, here we come.
Claim your miles at CapitalOne.com today.
What's in your wallet? Can you play games on that?
Not on the runway.
Oh.
What do you think they want? Everything. Just give it to him.
Hey, Brian, can I have some wheat thins?
What?
Can I have some wheat thins?
They're wheat thins.
That's what I said, wheat thins.
Wheat thins.
Wheat thins.
Wheat thins.
Wheat thins.
Why are you putting so much emphasis on the H?
What are you talking about? I'm just saying wheat thins.
Say wheat.
Wheat.
Now say wheat thins.
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 No, you can't have any.
Have any what? Have any wheat thins?
It's wheat thins.
Wheat thins.
Wheat thins.
Can I be in your commercial?
No, it's our thing. We're doing it.
Clark, let's put you back in charge of the virtual madness.
Well, we highlight Quincy Acey against Anthony Davis. He breaks contact, and then he's going to help on the drive. And anytime that happens, Kentucky is going up over the top, and Anthony Davis is going to the rim. Well executed by Kentucky, and not bad defense by Baylor. You really want to help on the drive, but you've got to know Kentucky wants to throw that lob and maybe stay home more against a team like Kentucky. Make that driver finish the shot instead of having that passing lane.
Kentucky to inbound, trailing 10-7. Jim Nance, Clark Kellogg, and Tracy Wolfson here at the Georgia Dome.
Hessler back on the floor, replacing Walton.
Kid Gilchrist.
I'm sorry, replaced Quincy Miller because Walton is still out there defending.
Coming up, AT&T at the half. Greg, Kenny, and Charles, and Kansas State head coach Frank Martin. We'll talk with Louisville's Rick Pitino and the regional final star, Russ Smith, about getting to the Final Four. Plus, we'll have a visit here with NCAA President Mark Emmert. Dr. Emmert will be here. And a Naismith Watch presented by AT&T coming up on AT&T at the half. Jones, 3. And Walton may have shoved the Kentucky player aside to get that rebound.
He did. It wasn't a lot of contact, but it was enough. Anytime you get an airborne player and you nudge him below the waist, that really is an advantage gained, and the officials were right on top of it. Good call, and the second foul on Walton.
2nd and 8 seconds.
Yeah, he fouled out the other night for the 4th time this season.
So Deuce Bello, freshman from Greensboro, North Carolina, will take his place on the floor.
Bello's minutes have increased here in the latter part of the season. In his last 5, he's played 79 minutes, Jim, in part because of what he brings in athleticism and at the defensive end of the floor.
And Bello had a 13-point performance in the Big 12 final against Missouri. That's a charge call.
And who was in the middle of it? Deuce Bello. The young fella moving his feet. Oh, he did a little bit of a selling job there, no doubt. A little extra drama.
Selling, acting, whatever you want to call it. It's the first on Kid Gilchrist.
Turnover's really the only blemish for Baylor. 4 assists on 4 made field goals, and there's another one.
Well, there it is. And that's going to be a reach-in call on Bello. Trying to cut off Miller. First one on Bello.
You know, you're playing this supreme Kentucky team. You can't afford careless mistakes to give them more opportunities to hurt you. You've got to be very efficient as Quincy Miller returns for PJ3. Perry Jones III going to take a seat. Got to be sharp ball fakes, sharp, speedy passes. Nothing lazy.
Teague hits a 3 to tie it at 10. The freshman from Indianapolis had 14 the other night and 7 assists against the Hoosiers.
He's been outstanding in the tournament, Jim Teague. 2.6 to 1 assist turnover ratio, 17 points a game, 6 assists per game. I don't know why people were complaining about his play. This kid has been outstanding running the club, particularly the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, led him in scoring against Iowa State with 24. You could tell Baylor was out of control there. Up ahead, Davis, outstretched arms, gets it and dunks it.
Scott Drew might need to regroup. Turnovers piling up and igniting this partisan Wildcats crowd here in Atlanta.
Baylor's gotten flustered the last 2 trips. And they've been stuck on 10 points now for over 4 minutes. And Quincy Miller lost control. And the arrow will stay in their favor. The Bears will maintain it. It's Country Music's Party of the Year, the Academy of Country Music Awards live. That's next Sunday, only CBS. Quincy Acey's going to go to the bench to match Davis's departure.
Jim, this is where Baylor has to run one of its best plays to get a quality shot. 14 seconds on the shot clock, plenty of time. Solid screening, player and ball movement, and I think Scott Drew wants to talk about it and make sure they get something good on this possession.
Need to. Last 7 points have gone the Wildcats' way. Kentucky by a bucket.
I think about the future every morning when I wake up. I care about my car because I think it's a cool car. I think it's stylish and it makes a statement at the same time. And I've never had a car like that. People don't totally understand how the Volt works. When the battery runs down, the gas engine operates. I don't ever worry about running out of battery power because it just switches over to my gas engine. I very rarely put gas in my Chevy Volt. I love the Chevy Volt and I've never loved a car.
It's time now for Powerade. Powering through. Look at Pierre Jackson.
Very explosive dynamo. Leads his team in scoring and assists as well as steals. He's been a huge difference maker for Baylor.
Beautiful day here in Atlanta. Spring, of course, everywhere across the country came early, and in a warm weekend here as a lot of the Kentucky fans, of course, and the Baylor contingent, not to underplay the effort they've made to get here from Waco, Texas.
That's right. Take a look at Anthony Davis, off to a pretty solid start. You see the shot volume, +7 in field goal attempts for Baylor because of the turnover differential. 6-zip points off turnovers. Baylor has to squeeze the orange and get a good shot here.
Yeah, they almost let the orange slip right there as Jones puts it up wildly, and it's Jones of Kentucky racing out with it. Wiltshire, the freshman from Portland, hits the three. He put on a shooting exhibition here on Thursday during the shoot-around. Unlike anything maybe I've seen from the outside.
He has a terrific stroke, and now the confidence to go with it.
Jackson trying to match it, no, and Jones has another rebound.
And he's able to bring it out initially by himself, and that allows you to eliminate the need for an extra pass in transition.
Kid Gilchrist takes the pass and slips past the defender for another basket. A lead of 7.
Home Protector Plus from Liberty Mutual Insurance, where the cost to repair your home, replace what's inside, and stay somewhere else if you need to are covered. Because you never know what lies around the corner. To learn more, visit libertymutual.com today.
Look at the tournament summary here, the Big East, with Louisville taking charge all the way to the Final Four now, winning the West. Your Buckeyes are in for the first time since 2007 here in Atlanta, by the way. And 5 of the 6 remaining head coaches have actually coached in the title game. The only one absent from that would be Scott Drew on that Baylor bench.
Congratulations to the Buckeyes. A strong performance in Boston yesterday to beat a very good Syracuse team.
Well, how about the Louisville run? So similar to what UConn did a year ago. Of course, UConn went 5 wins in 5 days at the Big East tournament. Louisville went 4-4. And on they go to New Orleans. And wasn't Coach Pitino touched after that game. There's a jumper off the mark by PJ3 as Baylor continues this scoring drought. They had led at 10-5.
The key here is Kentucky has picked it up and ignited, and there's Miller. They can just hurt you so many ways. Baylor just has to remain poised and get a couple of shots to go down and eliminate transition baskets for Kentucky.
Miller had a foot on the line, 2-point basket, 9-point lead.
He has made 15 of 23 field goals coming into this game during the tournament.
Big Gilchrist. Again. All the way down the floor for the basket and a double-digit lead. And Scott Drew and the Bears have no answer right now.
Charles Barkley talked about it in the studio, Jim. If Baylor wasn't careful, we could get away from him. Big basket there.
AC and the basket counts with a free throw to come, ending a 16-0 run.
Davis with that throwdown.
When a screen becomes this good, colors are more vibrant. Words are pin sharp. Everything is more brilliant. Because when a screen becomes this good, it's simply you and the things you care about. The stunning Retina display on the new iPad.
Open up Pizza Hut's new $10 dinner box. All your favorites, all in one place. A medium one-topping pizza, freshly baked breadsticks, and cinnamon sticks. Plus marinara and sweet icing for dipping. Best of all, the $10 dinner box is only $10 and only at your Pizza Hut.
Until the world can live in peace. Until natural disasters no longer strike. Until that day, the men and women of America's Navy stand ready to answer the call.
Even though we've been to 6 Final Fours, I never feel comfortable in March. You don't sleep. You worry about everything. You realize just one wrong play, and it's win or go home. The thought that a school of 3,000 can beat one of 60,000. The David and Goliath matchups. Even though I'm nervous, March to me is the greatest month of the year. I love March. My name is Tom Izzo, and I'm definitely comfortable in my own skin.
Thanks for picking us up, sweetie. I'll give you money for gas.
It's not necessary.
Take the money.
I'm not taking your money. Besides, I get great gas mileage.
What's that?
E-Assist. Yeah, it helps the engine run really efficiently. It captures energy that assists the engine, so I'm never guzzling gas.
Ooh, that's hippie talk.
It's called technology, Dad.
Take $2.
Take the money.
The all-new 37 mpg highway Chevy Malibu Eco. From conserving fuel to the technology that makes it happen. Chevy runs deep.
When you have cable and can't find something good to watch, you get depressed. When you get depressed, you attend seminars. When you attend seminars, you feel like a winner. When you feel like a winner, you go to Vegas. When you go to Vegas, you lose everything. And when you lose everything, you sell your hair to a wig shop. Don't sell your hair to a wig shop. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Here's a little game summary. The Wildcats hit 3 of their first 11, but have hit now 6 in a row. And you highlighted the big difference, the 6 turnovers, which just ignited the scoring run at the other end.
Exactly. Anthony Davis running the floor extremely well there. Wiltshire off the bench, an excellent three-point shooter. Kid Gilchrist off a turnover, able to get out and go. And that's John Calipari reacting not to his team on this significant run, but when Baylor got its last 2. And it was the first in a while. There you see the run over the 4 minutes and 1 second that it elapsed. And finally, Quincy Acey not only got the basket, but drew a foul on Deron Lamb as well.
Yeah, that basket by Acey is included in that little run you saw. In that it was 16 unanswered, and now Acey off the Lamb foul. Makes it a 3-point play. So the life of a coach on that bench, the emotions change by possession.
It's true, they sure do.
You can have a 16-point run, and all of a sudden it's the end of the world. No stopping him.
Especially when he's defended by A.J. Walton, who has 2 fouls and is giving up about 5 inches to him. Really tough matchups for Baylor now with A.J. Walton, Pierre Jackson, both smallish guards. You got Brady Heslip out there as well. And the Kentucky guards have size and length and quickness.
Heslip hasn't even taken an attempt so far. Ball on the floor. Last touch by Kentucky. So Baylor will inbound with 9 on the shot clock. A reminder, you can watch every game live on your computer, your iPad, iPhone, or select Android phones with NCAA March Madness Live. Visit ncaa.com/March Madness for more information. So again, they got a short shot clock here. Possession never changed hands.
And there's A.J. Walton. He's back out. Got Drew trying to find a combination that'll work. But so far, nothing going Baylor's way after a good start.
Jackson gets a favorable roll off the rim. Cuts it to 8.
Now, can they get stops here defensively? Turnovers fueled that big run by Kentucky initially. But with Baylor scoring the last couple of times, they've at least had an opportunity to set up the half-court defense. Now, can they execute in it?
And Davis, he can hit that shot all day long.
And if you're trying to help out on Kid Gilchrist posting inside by backing off Davis, then he'll make you pay from that 15-foot area. There's so many ways they can hurt you, Jim, because they can shoot it, they all pass it, they've got size and drive by Baylor.
Jones may have gotten a hand on it. Kentucky setting a new single-season NCAA block record in the victory against Indiana. They were 3-17 coming into this game. They took the all-time mark away from the Okafor-led team of UConn back in 2004 that won the championship in San Antonio. There's a foul against Jackson. His first. Was it a block by Terrence Jones? Just check it out.
Yeah, let's see if he got a piece of it. Just got a fingernail or two on it, just enough to bother it.
Enough
so
to,
that would be considered a block in my stat book.
And they will here too. It's official. And there it is now with the running total at 320. All-time single-season record, college basketball history. Led by Anthony Davis is now, I might add, 170 with the one added in here today.
Real dilemma for Baylor, Jim. They're trying to match up with this big perimeter of Kentucky, but their best offensive players are smaller.
Kid Gilchrist hits the three. He's already totaled 10 in the first 11 minutes. Jackson has an open lane, gives it up. Miller is blocked. As again, Jones makes a play.
They challenge everything at the rim, Jim, and they do so with poise and excellent timing. One of the things that Kentucky does so well is they really don't foul a lot. For all of the blocked shots, they typically don't get into a lot of foul trouble. I mean, Anthony Davis has only been Dairy Queened once.
Yep, that's really not an issue. They really only play about 7 players. Vargas got a few more minutes the other night, but he's had games where he hasn't had to be called on off the bench. It's not usually an issue. Saw a little bit of it in that first half in Indiana. Casey pauses, misses the short shot, and that's off of the hands of Kid Gilchrist.
AC may have gotten away with an offensive foul there, but I like his aggressiveness in trying to attack the rim.
Deron Lamb comes back. Kid Gilchrist to the bench, and what an explosive start he's given them. Same kind of performance he had the other night.
Made all of his free throws in a 24-point effort. 10 of 10 he was from the line. Also gobbled up 10 rebounds, 6 of them offensive.
That's Anthony Jones on the miss. Out with it. Teague ahead. Lamb and a foul. And that's going to be the second on Jackson. Team foul number 7. And don't forget, coming up later today in St. Louis on CBS, Kansas and North Carolina. What will the Tar Heels come up with in this one? What will Marshall do? Will he play? And of course, you expect that game in St. Louis is going to be a very big partisan Jayhawk crowd there on hand, like we have here in Atlanta with the close proximity of Lexington.
Yeah, this is kind of
Kentucky.
a quasi-home game for Kentucky, based on all of the blue here and how much time Kentucky spends here as part of the SEC. But looking ahead to the game this afternoon as Lamb misses a rare free throw. You know, you think about it, the Kansas Jayhawks guards have not played at a high level recently. Tyshawn Taylor, Elijah Johnson have not shot it well, but they're capable. Up front, Robinson's, of course, and Withey is a real game changer because of his rebounding, shot blocking, and shot changing. And Lamb, you won't see that much, Jim, where he misses a pair.
How about the team missing now 3 on the game after only 2 in 37 attempts the other night. Tonight they're 1 out of 4.
And then you think about Carolina, just to finish the thought. They'll play better because they've had a game under their belt without Marshall. And I would expect Harrison Barnes to have a stronger shooting game than he did the other night. He was 3 of 16 at one point.
Kentucky's hit its last 9 shots from the field. Lob to Davis.
Beautiful.
Jones has done that twice. Jones twice. Just really laying it on the rim for Davis to finish. And Kentucky's hit its last 10 now from the field.
So many interchangeable parts for this Kentucky team, Jim.
Baylor facing its biggest deficit of the tournament. 15 down.
I mean, when you've got a play made like that, big to big, that's unguardable.
Ball tipped back outside. Tough pass, but Anthony Jones has it. Going to be a reach-in call on Teague of Kentucky. And that'll be Teague's first. Kentucky shooting 62%. No wonder shots like this all game long.
We will experience a 30-minute delay. Thank you for your patience.
When you just can't wait for Rocky Mountain cold refreshment, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world.
Hi there.
Why do we always have to take your mom's car?
The security of a Tiguan, one of 9 Volkswagen models named a 2012 IIHS Top Safety Pick.
Is it March monotony? March more of the same? No, it's March Madness, people. The most insanely exciting 4 weeks of hoops all year. So you gotta get ready. You gotta get the superior color and clarity of LG TVs to keep up. Score big savings on LG TVs and more in the Do March Right promotion. See you at lg.com/NCAA and your local retailer. Hurry, the clock's running down.
4 walls and a roof is a structure. What's inside is a home. Home Protector Plus from Liberty Mutual Insurance, where the costs to both repair your house and replace what's inside are covered. So your life can settle right back into place. To learn more, visit libertymutual.com today.
Symbol known around the world is coveted by all golfers. It's a pretty special thing.
A tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Coors Light, Dove Men Plus Care, Liberty Mutual Insurance, and by LG.
Jim Nance with Clark Kellogg back here in Atlanta.
We call this big to big above the rim for the Wildcats. Penetration by Terrence Jones. Defenders come up and help. AD all by himself at the goal. Mark it up. 7:12 to go, Jim.
And what must Baylor do now to find a way to chip away, get back into this game?
Well, I'm going to tell you what. They've got matchup headaches at every position. They don't have any matchup advantage anywhere on the floor. So how do you get Kentucky out of its rhythm? You've got to execute offensively, and you need some shots to go down. You've got to be ready to take available shots like that and knock them down. Now, you get back in defense at your defensive end, and you've got to be aggressive and make Kentucky uncomfortable. Pressure, I think Pierre Jackson has to be a little more disruptive at the defensive end. They're playing this zone now, and Kentucky is such a good shooting team and has size advantage on the wings that they can shoot over the top of it if it's not active. But I think the beginning of defense is offense.
And kid Gilchrist got in the paint and really got almost an uncontested shot.
Yeah, that's too soft.
And that's 11 straight makes.
And I've noticed that with the Baylor zone and watching tape, that sometimes there are a lot of holes that allow for shots that are high quality and too easy to get for the opponent. So they've got to throw some sandpaper into their defensive approach.
Anthony Jones saves it. Jackson wanted the launch, but Kid Gilchrist closed in on him. Anthony Jones, shot slides off the rim, and coming away with it again is Anthony Davis. Kentucky going to be called for the charge here.
Quincy Acey doing a nice job holding his ground. That's the third time now that Marcus Teague has made a poor decision in the open court. He did it earlier twice, driving on bigger guys and having it blocked. And this time he made up his mind prematurely and spun himself right into an offensive foul. You can see Quincy Acey clearly outside of the restricted area arc, and that's basically what Rod Strickland and John Calipari are talking to Marcus Teague about.
That's 2 fouls on Teague. That's one way to get back in the game if you're Baylor. Get another quick foul on Teague, although he'll sit right now.
But again, this team is really good defensively without fouling, Jim.
Pass slips through the hands of Acey.
And you lose Teague, okay, that's your starting point guard, so you move Deron Lamb over to run the point. He did a lot of that last year and is very capable and comfortable in small stretches of time running the point for this team.
5.5 to go in the half. And Kentucky has not missed a shot in over 9 minutes on the clock. That's amazing. The NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues. Regional semifinal action tonight on ESPN2. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock Eastern as Kentucky battles Gonzaga. And for more information on the Women's Championship, go to NCAA.com. Heslop picks up his first foul. 2 shots coming for Kid Gilchrist. Baylor at 18 fouls.
Yes, exactly. That's going to be a problem. Anytime you're trying to come back, you want to have that stat in your favor, not working against you as Quincy Miller comes in and Quincy Acey will take a seat. Kentucky will be able to milk this the rest of the half, Jim. There's no reason for Kentucky, unless they have full-blown layup in transition, they should come down, exploit their matchup, attack the rim, and see if they can either score easily or draw fouls the rest of the half.
Well, they've doubled up Baylor now at 34-17. This is the largest lead of this regional final.
Barry Jones, PJ3, they're going to double him when he puts it on the floor, and then he was sloppy with it and lost it.
Yeah, Davis helped force that sloppy action by reaching in and tapping it away from him. Kid Gilchrist keeps making plays.
Well, it's really a pick 'em when you look at the Kentucky Wildcats. Any number of guys are making plays, but he seems to always be in the middle of everything they do, offensively and defensively. He brings such energy and focus and enthusiasm to the game on a regular basis. That's why he's emerged as, I think, this team's leader, quite honestly, Jim, even though he's only a first-year player.
Well, he hits the front end of a 1-and-1. As you said, 10 of 10 the other night at the line. Got them both again. Inside of 5 minutes. One side of the fair so far in Atlanta. Jackson again.
Nowhere to go.
Nothing there.
Where you really got to trust your offensive sets, your teammates. Can't try to do it on your own against so much size.
Miller, top of the keys, off the mark, and it's Miller of Baylor with the rebound.
Maybe an opportunity. Nope, not in transition. Kentucky back, no numbers.
That was the first miss in 10 minutes.
No shot, right here.
10 minutes of clock action, about 25 minutes of real time.
Right.
And Kid Gilchrist whistled for that one. His second. And Acey's coming back on the floor, as is Wiltshire of Kentucky. That was just a 6-team foul, so one away from the 1-and-1.
Shots you got to knock down, PJ3.
And tapped out to Lamb. Wiltshire gets it back out high with 4:10 to go in the half.
No rush. It's 35 miles an hour for Kentucky the rest of the way unless they have a wide open transition opportunity or drive to the lane. And Baylor doesn't really have the ability to match up enough at every position to apply defensive pressure.
AC whistled for that, his second. Kid Gilchrist has 17 points to lead the way.
You can choose one of the many family vehicles that happens to have 7 seats. Or you can choose the all-new JX Luxury Crossover by Infiniti that actually seats 7 comfortably. With innovative second-row seating that makes third-row access effortless, even with a child seat installed. Infiniti. Inspired performance.
This one's called the Kansas City Shuffle.
That's so Kansas City.
This one's a little trickier.
Okay.
It's called the Japanese Night Baseball.
Love it. Whoa!
This is the hardest one ever. The Apollo 11.
Oh, no way. Sunroof?
Yeah.
Oh! You wasteful showbo.
Well, you just ate something that was on the roof.
I've eaten stuff from under the car before.
100% white meat and irresistibly poppable. Jumbo popcorn chicken. This is how you Sonic.
You should have left for work already. But you never walk away from a playoff series heading for Game 7. Now with the PlayStation Vita, you don't have to. Your PS3 stays home, but the game goes with you. Never stop playing. PlayStation Vita.
This is Genco Services, McAllen, Texas. In here, heavy rental equipment in the middle of nowhere is always headed somewhere. To give it a sense of direction, AT&T created a mobile asset solution to protect and track everything. So every piece of equipment knows where it is, how it's doing, and where it goes next.
This is the Bell on the Cat.
It's a network of possibilities, helping you do what you do even better.
I'm a 6'8" power forward from your alma mater. We're one shot away from winning it all. And you couldn't even look away if your kitchen was on fire. Hey, look, your kitchen's on fire. And if you got your home insurance where you got your cut rate car insurance, it might not pay for all that. It's March, and it's mayhem. So get Allstate, where agents help keep you protected from mayhem like me.
Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate agents.
And back to virtual madness. What do you see here, Clark?
Well, Pierre Jackson going to get a pretty good look at the three, but then he's kind of undecided as to what to do. He hesitates, then he tries to gamble for a steal. He's in between instead of just retreating back. And once that ball is pushed ahead and Kid Gilchrist has an open lane, forget about it. But once you take that shot, if you don't have a clean rebound, actually you should be getting back if you're the guard when you take that shot right away. There you see Baylor's total points, only 17. Fast break points for Kentucky, almost equal to that. It's been total domination by the Kentucky Wildcats. And again, they've got so many ways to hurt you. If you don't execute on offense and make shots so you can get your defense set, they're going to run it down your throat. If you turn it over, they're definitely running it down your throat. And that's been the case. Nothing really good has happened for Baylor after the first 4 or 5 minutes.
Had that lead at 10-5. And then they hit a drought that lasted over 5 minutes. Had another drought that went over 3 minutes. And they're currently in one that's approaching 4 minutes.
That's not a good recipe for competing against a high-caliber opponent. Multiple droughts of over 3 minutes.
Kentucky has scored the game's last 8 points.
And they're jumping out on Heslop, not giving him any room to look at a three-point shot.
This is his first attempt of the game. And Wiltshire got a piece of the handle, sent him to the line. Get the latest gear for your team at the official store of the NCAA. Find great hoops merchandise at ncaa.com. Wiltshire's first. Baylor and Kentucky actually played for the national championship back in 1948. It was Adolph Rupp's first national title as Kentucky won the championship matchup against Baylor, coached by Mr. Bill, they called him, Bill Henderson. 58-42 in Madison Square Garden. You wouldn't think Baylor's history, this was only the 7th year they'd ever been in the tournament, that they actually were in the Final Four in 48. In fact, the title game, and back again in 50 in the Final Four. Look at this passing down low. Jones. And Davis puts it back up.
But, Jim, that all created because you have a real advantage when you throw it in the post to whoever Pierre Jackson is trying to defend. The defense has to overreact and help, and that opens up those long front liners to play volleyball. This is a missed shot, but Davis right there. Impeccable timing and pretty nifty finish here, is you have to know where you are upon retrieving that errant shot. And this kid has such poise at both ends of the floor, does Anthony Davis.
Second foul on Lamb, 1-1. Pierre Jackson. Young man's a junior out of Las Vegas. All Big 12 performer, and there's Davis again, doing it in a lot of different ways that you didn't have a chance to see if you watched him for the first time Friday night against Indiana. And Jackson hits them both. Jackson, by the way, coming out of junior college last year, College of Southern Idaho, won a national junior college championship, reduced his last two schools to Baylor and Creighton. We saw that very, very good Creighton team, Coach McDermott. And his son Doug's going to be back next year. It'll be a strong team, and very nearly Pierre Jackson was a part of it. They were North Carolina's victim last Sunday in the third round in Greensboro after beating Alabama. Bob Wiltshire. Turn around too strong. And Jackson. And it's off the hands of Kentucky.
I like that shot by Jackson, a quick hitting three-point opportunity in transition. They're going to need to try to get a couple of those to go. And if you're Baylor, you're thinking about, hey, we're down 20. Let's get something positive going over the next 146 seconds here and see if we can go into the locker room on a positive note. It doesn't have to be much, but it needs to be a little something here.
Eloy Vargas has come in for the first time for Kentucky, number 30, down low. He's on Jones. Just a little glimmer of hope, you're saying?
Yeah, they need to knock down a couple of shots. Good look for Miller right there, and too strong.
And that's off AC. Baylor 5 minutes now without a made field goal.
And that's terribly deflating, Jim. As a former player, I mean, you're out there giving it an effort, and Kentucky is basically stiff-arming you at every stop. And then you don't have shots to go to kind of fuel you a bit. It's hard to stay engaged defensively against an elite opponent when you're not doing anything at the offensive end.
There is Miller with a three. Dips down and out, but again, Davis says, let's try this again, U35.
Again, I made the point, Baylor just unable to really apply any kind of disruptive pressure to Kentucky because the matchups are in favor of Kentucky, particularly on the perimeter. Jackson is quick enough, but he gives up size and may have forced a turnover there. He did.
Yeah, he bounced it off the knee of Lamb, so it's going back to Baylor with 1:18 to go in the first half.
Nice job by Pierre Jackson.
That's just the third turnover of the game for Kentucky. Beautiful pass. And Ace's got his dunk.
A few times Jackson has been able to get into the lane under control with both feet under him.
He had 4 dunks against Xavier. That's his 245th of his career, his rim-rattling career in Waco.
Well, I think I just saw what the adjustment has to be for Baylor. A lot of pick and rolls, turn Pierre Jackson loose, and see if he can just create havoc at the offensive end. And then they're going to knock down some threes in the second half.
Miller hits the floater. And just about right on it, shot clock to game clock.
That's only half the equation, Jim. I've got an offensive strategy for Baylor, but I don't know what they can do defensively.
This is going to be rather large assignment going into that locker room at halftime. come up with a way you make up a deficit like this against a team everyone's regarded as the best in the country. And there's a block again by Davis. 4 seconds to go in the half. Miller looks up, sees the time, feeds the corner. Lamb puts it up, no. But still, Kentucky goes in to the locker room up 20. What a performance here by the Wildcats. We'll be sending you to the studio in New York when we continue on the road to the Final Four on CBS.
When you're responsible for this much of the team, you need a car you can count on.
One tribe.
One big happy family.
One big mess.
This is not poop, it's dirt. You don't want to tend the fire?
New Survivor, CBS Wednesday. Score one for the home team.
We have a winner.
Thanks for making CBS America's most watched network.
Don't miss the return of CSI New York, all new Friday only CBS.
Voila. Oh. Where's this gonna go? Dad, if you could just move that gravy boat over to your right just a little bit. Oh, darn it. Okay. Honey, put your phone away, please. Mom, if you'll put this where that mac and cheese is. Okay. All right, everybody. Glasses to the left. To the left. Dad, help me. Help me.
I got it.
Oh. Woo. And then,
Make room for great Easter meals at great Meyer prices.
People everywhere are dropping everything to get to the Nissan Now sales event. Get great deals now. Save up to $3,150 on Altima or up to $2,000 on Rogue. Visit ChooseNissan.com. Test drive at your local Nissan dealer. Event ends April 2nd. Do it now.
We're more than an energy company.
we are mothers,
fathers,
neighbors, and friends.
Working hard when the weather is good.
And even harder when it's not.
With online updates to keep you safe and informed during a storm.
Programs to save you energy and money.
And new projects to help us provide cleaner, more reliable energy.
We're more than an energy company.
We are KU.
We're KU.
We are KU.
Our energies go to serving you.
When they tell you it's the economy, when they tell you times are tough, when they tell you it's a technology gap, ask yourself, who are they anyway? In 2 years or less, our Go to Work program can train you for one of more than 600 career options in fields that are hiring, fields that pay, with classes that are close to home and easy to afford. So go further, go faster, go for more. Go you. The 16 colleges of the Kentucky Community and Technical College System. Higher education begins here.
The roots are deep. The families are strong. The past is present. The work is hard. The living is easy. The talk is straight, and so's the bourbon. The grass is blue, sorta. And the insurance, well, it's Kentucky Farm Bureau. Big on commitment.
Auto and home? We have even bigger savings for that.
Wow, sounds good.
More savings any way you shake it.
Want to spit some nachos?
Sure.
Get to a better state. State Farm.
This AT&T 4G network is fast.
Hey, heard any updates on the game?
I think it's final seconds. Ooh, down by 2, shoots a 3. Game over.
So 2 seconds ago.
Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Harris. Where's Kevin?
Say hi, Kevin.
Mom, put me down. Put the phone down.
Hey, guys, did you hear? The Choi's had their baby?
So 29 seconds ago.
Well, we should get them a gift.
Thanks for the gift.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Get it fast with AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T.
NCAA.com is your online destination for college sports. With comprehensive video highlights, stats, and editorial coverage of every championship, as well as live streaming game coverage of multiple winter championships across all 3 divisions.
NCAA.com has in-depth and extensive coverage of your favorite schools and your favorite sports this winter. NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
AT&T at the Half is sponsored by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. We think possible.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to AT&T at the Half. I'm Greg Gumbel. After 20 minutes of play in Atlanta, it is Kentucky in the lead over Baylor by a score of 42-22. And joining me here at the desk, Greg Anthony, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, Kansas State head coach Frank Martin. As we look at these first half highlights, not a whole lot of surprises here, Coach.
I'll say this. We get consumed late in the year with just the teams in your own league. All I can say about watching Kentucky play defense is wow. All those young kids. Charles and I spoke about this yesterday. Incredible job Calipari's done.
You know, he gets freshmen to play defense. First of all, nobody wants to play defense. But to get high school seniors, basically, to play defense from day one, give Calipari and these guys a bunch of credit.
Well, whatever happened to the term freshman mistake? It's not apparent anymore. That term does not even live in the NCAA tournament anymore. But, you know, the one thing, Greg, I was looking to see was the resistance of Baylor. Not what they did on the offensive end totally, but the resistance. And I didn't think there was a resistance. And to me, the guy I was looking for was Perry Jones III defensively against Terrence Jones. I thought that he would make it uncomfortable. Terrence Jones only has 1 point, but he has five rebounds and 6 assists. So to me, his resistance of getting in the lane wasn't there. So in the first 2 minutes, when we were talking to Coach, I said, Coach, this looks like a good win for Kentucky because the resistance wasn't there as a team defensively for Baylor.
There's only one guy out there competing for Baylor, and that's Mr. AC. He's competing. The rest of those guys, they're playing scared and intimidated. But Mr. AC is really battling. He just don't have enough bullets.
You know what's interesting about Kentucky, and you made the point about the not making the freshman mistakes, they play like seniors. Like, they don't make any, like, mental mistakes offensively or defensively, and they really share it. Like, Cal was talking yesterday, all 7 of those kids average 25 points a game in high school. Yet none of them play like they got to get theirs. They just try to make the right basketball play for their team. And defensively, I mean, it's as impressive a performance as I've ever seen in the first half.
If I could add something real quick, just how impressive it is, these guys defensively. They forced Baylor into 9 turnovers and forced them into 5 blocks. That's 14 open court opportunities that Kentucky's finished on the other end.
20-point lead at the break, 42-22. Now, a reminder, coming up next here on CBS, number 2 Kansas takes on number 1 North Carolina in the Midwest Regional. Final tip time in St. Louis is set for 5:05 Eastern. Here is the latest on Kendall Marshall. North Carolina team personnel told our Craig Sager that Marshall participated fully in practice this morning, not just dribbling the basketball, but that it remains a game-time decision as to whether Marshall will play. However, CBSSports.com is reporting that Marshall is out for today's game. Kenny, I would have thought they would have called and asked your opinion.
Well, no, the only opinion they need is after the fact because I'm going to analyze it. But I think overall, you know, without Marshall, what that does is that the game plan for Kansas now is direct. We pressure the basketball, and we make them make decisions because Kendall Marshall is great at making decisions. We don't know what Stillman White is capable of. So we have to see if this guy is capable of making great decisions in a high-impact game with a lot of stakes on the line. So that's what Kansas is thinking. And if you're North Carolina, the front court is saying, okay, no Kendall Marshall. We played okay. Now we have to play great. We still think we're the best front line in college basketball, and we're going to prove it today and get to the Final Four.
I would think even if Kendall Marshall plays, you got to go at him and find out how well he can play.
No, but the thing is, if you pressure Kendall Marshall, you're playing into his hands even with one arm because he is a guy who wants to find people by nature. So that wouldn't have worked if Kendall Marshall does not play. I think the pressure will be on Stillman, and they're going to have to really tighten up the screws.
All right, time now for our Naismith Watch presented by AT&T. Here's a look at this year's 4 finalists. Kentucky's Anthony Davis, the SEC Player of the Year. Draymond Green of Michigan State won Player of the Year honors in the Big Ten. Creighton's Doug McDermott was voted the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. and Kansas's Thomas Robinson, the Big 12 Player of the Year. You can be part of college basketball history. Text VOTE to 34763 on your mobile phone or visit ncaa.com/Naismith Vote to help select the winner of the 2012 Naismith Trophy presented by AT&T. Louisville, the first team in this year's Final Four, awaits the winner of this Baylor-Kentucky regional final. A short while ago, I talked with Cardinals head coach Rick Pitino and his sophomore guard Russ Smith, and I asked Russ how the coach reacted in the locker room at halftime with Florida leading by 8.
The mood was, it was just pretty down at first. The guys didn't know what to do. I mean, no one has ever done that before to us. I don't think this whole season. So coach just grabbed the guys and just said we have to do something about our defense. And I think we started out the second half still in our matchup. And then after like one jump shot or so, we just switched right to man. We couldn't take it anymore.
And what were you thinking when Peyton Siva got into foul trouble and then eventually fouled out of the game? He's an important part of the puzzle.
Man, I was like, oh no, and I started praying. I didn't know what to do. It was definitely one of those moments where I was lost, and my teammates came and picked me up, and coach told me to settle down. It's going to be okay.
We try to do the same thing to Russ every time. We try to put him in a situation where he doesn't have to pass, because that kills our basketball team. And just at the end, when he threw that ball away, that was my fault for putting him in a situation where he would have any chance of passing the ball. You just have to put him in a situation where he can somehow force a shot.
Has this team been what you thought it would be or even exceeded your expectations?
I really didn't have, Greg, any lofty expectations because we had so many injuries. We were just trying to survive basically during the season. We had 3 major knee surgeries, concussions, and we just wanted to get through the season, make the tournament, and then start fresh.
I can't imagine, Rick, anything more bittersweet than winning a game that you need to go to the Final Four, but having to defeat Billy Donovan in order to do it.
Before the game, I said it looked like that one of us was obviously going to have to go home, and there was so much at stake. He's a phenomenal coach. I'm so proud of him. I have been since 1987. First day I coached him till to this day. I just love that young man, and I'm so proud of him.
Coach Rick Pitino and Russ Smith. Let me ask you, Coach Frank Martin, that it's looking a lot like it's going to be Louisville against Kentucky. If you're Rick Pitino, what do you do?
Well, there's a sense of confidence because they've already played this year, and they went nose to nose with them. And they grind you, Louisville. They don't give you anything easy. All these runouts that you're seeing from Kentucky today, they probably don't get against Louisville. Kentucky just is so talented. It's scary. I don't know what you can do against them.
All right, Coach, thank you, and thanks for watching AT&T at the Half. We'll get you back out for the second half right after this.
AT&T at the Half is sponsored by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. Rethink possible.
No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, every family everywhere should have the financial security they need. Not just the ones who can figure it out. Not just the most fortunate. Everyone. MetLife. I can do this.
There are over 400,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us will be going pro in something other than sports.
Tuesday, murder hits home.
They've got this all wrong, Leon. Your wife's kid, brother? Family or not, I gotta do my job. I'm not satisfied with the job you're doing.
New NCIS, then a Navy war game goes terribly wrong.
We came here for the truth, Commander, not a scapegoat.
New NCIS LA after a new NCIS, CBS Tuesday.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NCAA for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any picture, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NCAA's consent is prohibited.
And we're back in Atlanta with Kentucky up 20
at halftime. Second half coming up shortly here at the Georgia Dome. It's our pleasure to have with us Dr. Mark Emmert, the president of the NCAA. And Dr. Emmert, it's been quite an NCAA run to the Final Four so far. I know you've taken a lot of it in. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, obviously we're seeing some incredible basketball. A lot of teams have had a lot of great runs. We've seen some upsets like you always get, and so far it's living up to its name of March Madness.
I know there's a lot of sports that you have to look after, but I know college basketball is especially close to your heart, isn't it?
Yeah, sure it is. How do you not love this game and all the enthusiasm around it?
Look, we've been listening all week, and of course, being an avid college sports fan, sometimes it's an outcry. People talk about the NCAA rules. It's been talked about this weekend in the studio.
Sure.
And you really, since you've taken the presidency, you've talked about rules reform. What are your plans?
Well, the NCAA Division I rule book is far too big, far too complex, has rules that are irrelevant, that can't be enforced, that frankly don't make sense. So right now, I've got a working group led by some presidents and ADs and coaches, and they're completely rewriting that rule book. We're going to see it shrink pretty dramatically and focus on the things that really count in college sports.
As we see the Baylor Bears come back out onto the floor, you said it. The book is really thick, the rules book. You're going to shrink it. But just listen to Charles Barkley yesterday in the studio. He talked about there's a rules book, and there should be a rule book that's just a common sense rule book. Is it going to be heading in that direction a little bit more?
Yeah, I think Charles is exactly right. We need to make sure that the rules make good common sense to folks, that we're exercising appropriate judgment and making decisions around that rule book. And you can get rid of the things that drive people crazy, all the little miscellaneous rules that are in there that you can inadvertently break or that have no impact on the real outcome of the game. Well,
give the people an example what might go away.
Well, we have a rule that says you can give a kid a bagel and call it a snack, but if you put cream cheese on it, now it's a meal and you can't give it to him. I mean, it's silly things like that.
Well, we also yesterday had Coach Martins in the studio from Kansas State. He talked about the Jamar Samuel situation. He was suspended for the Wildcats game in the NCAA tournament. He was upset about it, and he didn't feel it was just that the kid had to miss the game. What's the NCAA stance on that?
Well, obviously, it's unfortunate when any athlete misses what might have been a last game or misses a tournament game, and that's really, I'm sorry that happens. On the other hand, that circumstance or circumstances like that shouldn't occur in the first place. The university to have a chance to provide anybody coming to the tournament with a per diem that they can use for expenses. We put forward $60 million a year from the NCAA to all of our Division I schools for funds for any miscellaneous expenses like that a young man might have. There's really no reason why someone ought to be turning somewhere else for financial support like that. It doesn't seem to me that it's necessary at all. It's obviously a violation of a rule, and everybody seems to recognize that.
Academic reform is another topic. What is that something you're out to do right now?
Well, we've established a new qualification standard for participation in any postseason play. You've got to qualify on the court or on the field, but also in the classroom. So we're saying everybody needs to be on track for a 50% graduation rate. That seems like a perfectly acceptable standard. All the university presidents buy into it, and that's the rule we put in place right now with our APR.
As Kentucky comes onto the floor, and of course this affects UConn, and they're appealing right now that decision that at the present time would have last year's champions ineligible for next year's NCAA tournament. But I see a team like Kentucky, and so many of their kids do leave early. How do you measure their academic success or where they are in this whole mix when their kids aren't around after a year or two to be factored in?
Sure. Well, the APR measure was established so that it doesn't punish a young man or woman who wants to go pursue their professional ambition. So if they're academically qualified, if they're doing the coursework that they need to do while they're at the university and then they go into a professional sport, that doesn't count against the university or their APR standard. And so if a youngster wants to go play ball, fine, go play ball, as long as you're being a serious student while you're a student.
Before you go, on that note, as a college basketball fan and understanding that kids should have a chance to earn a living, but if they want to go after 1 year to the NBA, they can. We talked to Coach Calipari at our NCAA seminar this year about what do you do? I mean, is this current setup really successful for us at this level, the college basketball fan, or for the NBA? Coach Calipari was one. Might surprise some people saying it's got to be 2 years. If they want to go after after high school, fine, but you got to commit to 2 years. Got to get the NBA Players Union together with the NCAA. Can this ever get advanced? Is that possible? Is that something you guys are interested in doing?
Yeah, I sure hope so, because I completely agree with Coach Calipari. I'd like it to be 3 years if it was up to me.
Okay.
But having someone come to a university for 1 year because they feel like they have to do that to go pursue a dream, even though there's other avenues into the NBA, they're not serious about being a student because it's really hard for them to be serious. And at the same time, almost all these young men can enjoy a couple or 3 years of college experience. They're much better for it. They're better athletes. They're better students. They're better men. I would much rather see that rule changed. And we've been talking to the NBA and the Players Association. It's up to them to do it.
It's
not
theirs,
us.
not yours.
It's their decision, not ours. If it was ours, we'd do it in a minute.
Do you think that's possible?
I hope so.
Okay. Dr. Emmert, we'll see you in New Orleans next week.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your time.
Always good to be with you, Jim.
Good to be with you as well. We'll come back with the second half here of this South Regional Final with Kentucky up 42-22. We'll be right back to Atlanta.
No success is overnight. It's about working harder and smarter. It's the culmination of a million decisions. It's where you see yourself going and how you choose to get there. The all-new 2013 GS. Our boldest response ever. There's no going back.
Matthew Perry makes friends with the good wife.
Nothing's simple, is it?
That's not true. Candyland is simple.
The Good Wife. New episode CBS tonight.
Scathing commentary, refined goatee. Rome on CBS Sports Network.
People everywhere are dropping everything to get to the Nissan Now sales event. Get great deals now. Lease Altima, just $179, or get up to $2,000 back on Sentra. Visit ChooseNissan.com. Test drive at your local Nissan dealer. Event ends April 2nd. Do it now.
With online banking, remote deposits, and bill pay from Kentucky Bank, you never have to leave your office to make deposits or manage your funds. Kentucky Bank helps you take advantage of technology to make your business run more efficiently. Kentucky Bank wants to help you when you need a loan, and they also offer small business administration loans. They're happy to meet you at your business and help you get the financing you need. Kentucky Bank always looks for ways to partner with businesses of all sizes and types in order to help them become successful. Kentucky Bank for Business. Call it home.
It starts with creamy, smooth DQ soft serve, made from our secret recipe. Then we throw in cookies, candy, other delicious toppings, and blend it all together to create the Dairy Queen Blizzard. There may be imitators, but we all know the Blizzard is one of a kind, except for right now, when you can buy one and get another for just 99 cents. That's right, buy one Blizzard and get a second for only 99 cents. So now's your chance to get two of the one and only.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Pizza Hut, Lexus, Bud Light, and by Dish.
It's been Kentucky in a romp through 20 minutes. And let's reactivate the little virtual madness technology, Clark.
How about Kid Gilchrist? Michael Kidd Gilchrist. He has 17 points on only 7 shot attempts. And you can take a look at where he's made all of his shots pretty much in the paint, with the exception of one triple. And there it is right there. But he has been virtually perfect.
I like your new shot chart.
That was very impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was really sweet. And for Kentucky fans, it's been about as sweet as honey the first 20 minutes. And Baylor's going to have to find some way, one, to get going offensively. I mean, 8 of 25 shooting, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. There's not enough offense.
And somehow I didn't think it was possible. Pass too high for Davis. I never thought I would say that. This is the fewest points scored in a first half this year for Baylor. And obviously, when you're talking about a 30-17, they haven't seen anything like a 20-point halftime deficit as Haslip off on the 3. And Kid Gilchrist comes out with it. There's another one. That's Jones bringing it down. Teague with the assist. We haven't had a regional final this lopsided since UConn and Alabama back in 04. That UConn team, again, that won the championship. That had the record for most blocks in the season. As AC scores on the inside, a record that was broken by this very same Wildcat bunch on Friday.
You know, what you'd like to see from Baylor is just a little more grit and fight. I mean, they're being blitzkrieg, but no reason to just take it. There's a hard foul, and Perry Jones is coming up hurt. As is,
Both of them are hurt. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. It's the knee. He's clutching. Anthony Davis. Everyone regards him as a National Player of the Year. Taking a tumble here in the first minute and a half. They both were hurt. Jones coming over to try to cut him off on the drive to the basket.
Come on, put me in the game. You good? You ready? Here I am.
Boy, it just puts your heart in your stomach, Jim. There you see the collision.
Oh, boy. I think he landed very awkwardly. He's going to try to walk it off, and now the whole NCAA tournament, what's going to happen the rest of the way, has just taken a very, very frightening turn here for a moment.
Here's another look at it. Drive, contact. There you see the knee get the hip and buttocks of Perry Jones III, and then the awkward land.
It's the
awkward
land on the
landing.
left
I think
leg.
you're right.
There was a buckle.
Yeah, but they're moving it there now, so that's a good sign without being right on top of it. It's going to head, I think, right to the locker room, it looks like, for further examination. So actually, he's just trying to walk it off as opposed to heading to the locker room. Another positive sign at this juncture. We'll see. I would think if there's any question about it, you let him watch the rest of the way with the margin of that Kentucky enjoys. Here is the drive.
Just watch the landing.
Yeah, then the
right
left knee
there.
right there. Yep. There you go. He came down awkwardly on that left knee.
Haslip, Baylor step back and tell you this whole building now is just gone completely silent, understanding the significance of that moment and waiting and hoping as Jones is stretching out behind the Baylor bench. Darius Miller called for that foul.
Oh, Jim, you sometimes see injuries that look worse than they actually end up being, and others don't look as bad as they end up being. So you just have to wait and see.
Just as he's grimacing as they rub the ointment on the left knee. We were there last week in Greensboro, and he is really in pain.
Yeah, he's agonizing. You can see it with the grimace, and you were starting to say about
Kendall
last
Marshall
week,
and how that really suddenly changed the whole view of how this tournament might be played out. But and of course, Marshall still don't know exactly what he's going to be able to do the rest of the way. And
but
then you're talking about the National Player of the Year here.
Right, and to the point we were just making, we didn't know that Kendall was hurt when he went down. It wasn't until after the fact. I mean, he came back and played some in that game, and it wasn't until after the game that we realized what the deal was.
Well, here we go. We got a report from Tracy. Go ahead.
Well, guys, Coach Calipari came over to Davis, gave him some words of encouragement, and Davis just looked at him. He said, I'm okay. And then the trainer went over to the Kentucky SID and said, he's okay. We're just going to do some further evaluation, guys.
All right, let's hope that's the case. You know, that's
exactly right, Jim. That's the best we can hope for right now, based on the information.
Walton almost knocked it out. Tapped up Terrence Jones and out to Hessler. And look, Davis is actually going to go check in. He is on his feet, and you can hear the roar as the Kentucky faithful now can finally take a breath. And just listen as Davis will come back onto this floor. Jones whistled for that one.
Well, adrenaline and youth is a marvelous thing as we see Davis waiting to check back in.
You know all about knees.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, exactly. Put a premature stop to my playing days way back when. So that's why I always even grimace a little more when you see a young player go down in an awkward fashion and you start thinking about the knee. You can see he's still got a little gitch in his hitty up as Terrence Jones leaves.
And that standing ovation to send him back out there. And just see just how he's able to move with any kind of speed down the floor. His AC makes it an 18-point game.
I think part of it is I think he wants to see how it feels. And the coaching staff as well, since there's no indication there's any significant damage.
Knees are such a tricky thing. You know, it kind of hard to make an assessment like that as long as he was down and as much pain as he was showing. You know, it's amazing to see him back out there.
Sometimes you can hyperextend it a bit and it'll scare you and it'll cause some discomfort and pain, and then the adrenaline's flowing and you get back out there and are able to work through it. But he wouldn't be out there if it was anything more serious. I couldn't imagine him being out there if there was anything more serious than that.
The foul is on Franklin of Baylor, seeing his first action. He comes barreling in on the shot on Lamb and picks up a second foul. Gary Franklin, sophomore from Santa Ana, California, as Coach Drew now goes to his 9th different player to see action. There he is.
Franklin is a three-point specialist. He has pretty good size and can be a good defender, but hasn't played much at all recently. So I would figure there's a little rust on his game, but Scott Drew trying to find somebody that can provide a spark and some offense.
Baylor committing 3 fouls on about a 5-second span. And William gets them both. His first 2 points of the game.
They haven't needed him to score today.
Walton has his pocket pick by Lamb, taken off past Franklin. Blocked by Jackson. And Kentucky resets. Scrappy play here, and Lamb delivers the goods from the corner.
AC took a spill as he went to challenge that shot attempt by Lamb, and he went down, and he comes up limping a little bit. Boy, he's given great effort. Hasn't been a lot of production for the Baylor Bears, but you can never question the effort of Quincy AC.
And Perry Jones, who was injured in that collision, is back out there coming in for AC. Here's that effort you spoke of.
Oh, actually, he went down way before the shot challenge, it appears.
So the three-point basket now gives Kentucky its largest lead at 23, and AC is able to score. Yeah, he's still limping. He's got all 8, does AC, of Baylor's second half points.
Yeah, and he just asked to come out. He just indicated to Scott Drew he can't continue to go. So Anthony Jones is headed to the scorer's table. Actually, is already there. And will check in at the first opportunity.
Lamb, one more time. And Jones. Jones is grimacing even as he got that rebound, went back outside with it.
Yeah, you're right. Anthony Davis doesn't look to be.
Anthony Davis, yep.
Yeah, anywhere near 100%, Jim. And quite honestly, with the lead being what it is, other than Anthony Davis wanting to be out there, I think you got to consider sitting him down.
51-30 from 20 at halftime to 21.
Is in the air. Lowe's, never stop improving.
Get the party started, dial it. Pitbull together with Bud Light. Here we go.
Prepare for anything. Vitamin Water. You're up.
He's not only the best tennis player in the world, he's the most entertaining. Novak Djokovic's amazing life story. Tonight on 60 Minutes.
They train together. Now to survive, they'll have to stick together.
I need to know that you've got my back.
We're back with Kentucky stomping Baylor at 51-30. And let's go back over to Tracy.
Thanks, Jim. 2 injuries to report on the Baylor sideline. Quincy Acey came off during that break. He said it was his buttocks. They spent some time on the sideline stretching him out. He continues to stretch. Expect him to return, though. As for Perry Jones III, who hurt himself on the same play Anthony Davis did, it was a bruised hip. We did see him back in the game, guys.
All right, meanwhile, it was Jones coming over to try to defend on Davis. Davis is still on the floor. Oh, you never thought to see both of them back in action just minutes later, but they are indeed. As the ball slipped out of the hands of Jackson, here's Jones. Hits the three from the top of the key. Baylor comes out with it with Franklin. Follow up Jones. Second try. No, we had 2 chippies.
Wow, you've got to convert those, needless to say. I mean, you don't have many clear opportunities against this shot-blocking team of Kentucky, but the pressure being picked up now by Franklin and Walton, but they're unable to do it without fouling.
For Walton, that's his 4th. Then team foul number 6. Deuce Bello will come in for Walton. Interesting how Baylor makes it to the Elite Eight for the second time in 3 years, and the routing for them on this road to the Elite Eight exactly the same when you talk about the seedings they faced along the way. Now, there weren't teams like the Power 6 conference teams that were waiting for them at every stretch of the way by any means. But, you know, to win a game in the NCAA tournament, you know, it's a fragile thing.
That's right.
Went through a same path as the trip to Houston is. Jones is fouled. We've got an update coming out of New York. Let's go there.
All right, Jim, Greg Gumbel in New York with this update. The Carolina Tar Heels just arrived at the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis, and Coach Roy Williams says that Kendall Marshall will not dress for today's game against the Kansas Jayhawks due to discomfort in that sore right wrist. Jim?
All right, it's only been a week since he injured it. You saw the highlight from the game against Creighton where he broke the wrist. And as AC's coming back on the floor, of course, then he had surgery first thing Monday morning. It seemed almost inconceivable anyway that he could play 4 days later, much less 6 days later. Right. So now the question is, can North Carolina survive and advance without him against Kansas? And if they do, they get to New Orleans. Is there any chance he would play even next week?
Well, we'll see and find out. Obviously, today is the most important day for North Carolina. I think the Tar Heels will get better performances from everybody else. Zeller was magnificent in the win against Ohio. So too was Reggie Bullock. But it's each man has to raise his level of play against Kansas.
That is, again, Davis on the bench right now.
I think he needs to sit the rest of the time. I mean, this game is a 19-point game. Kentucky in full control. There's no reason to risk additional injury to Davis.
As Bello going to give Baylor a nice highlight right there. Steal and a dunk.
Now watch out now here, Jim. I mean, Deuce Bello, the foul situation is not in Baylor's favor. They've got to be aggressive defensively. Jackson has the quickness to be disruptive, as does Bello. Can they create havoc and disruption as Marcus Teague guilty of an offensive foul?
And it was Bello who was able to draw it.
Yeah.
Teague's third. America's favorite geeks are back with a new Big Bang Theory Thursday only on CBS, America's #1 network. And just like that, Davis is on the floor again. Teague goes out with the three. Davis gets a little treatment that caused some pain, and he is going to see more action.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that massaging of the knee can help it get a little quicker back to normal. So he's out there in a 7-0 run, 7-1 run for Baylor here.
AC, nice move and shot with the left hand. From 23 down to 16. And Lamb hits the jump shot. Lamb has 7, all in this half. Jackson with the three, short. Bello tries to save it. He's out of bounds. Yeah, this Baylor team 2 years ago made it all the way to the regional final in Houston against Duke, going through a 14 seed, an 11 seed, and a 10 seed. The 2 wasn't there waiting for him. Same thing here. Duke was the 2 in this bracket. Of course, Lehigh shocked them in the first game. That was officially called the second round, but there was no 2 in place for Baylor to have to go through. Pass, Lamb, now got 9.5. That comes from Miller.
One thing about being down such a large amount is that even when you make a little bit of a run, all it takes is a basket or 2 from your opponent to push you back a step or 2. You have to be close to perfect, as Perry Jones III, being aggressive, able to draw the foul on Anthony Davis there.
Masters Live will stream exclusive video of Amen Corner 15 and 16 and featured group. For more, go to cbssports.com/masters and masters.com. Perry Jones did a couple at the line. And Walton, 4 fouls, back on the floor. A Baylor team that opened the year, Clark, 17-0 and was ranked number 3 in the country until Kansas gave the Bears their first loss of the season.
And that was in Lawrence, in a game where Thomas Robinson was terrific. Tyshawn Taylor, too. Well, Baylor starting to chip away a little bit. Now it's about sustaining the defensive effort and being able to come up with consecutive stops.
Baylor was ready to take off, racing to the other end. And the foul was called on Franklin. It'll be a 1-1 coming out of the break. Teague and the Cats up 17.
What? You're smiling.
I think they want us to come and find them.
It's a star map.
No, not a map. An invitation.
From whom? Prometheus has landed.
If you're going down there, you're going to die.
From the director of Alien, Blade Runner, and Gladiator. This summer, the search for our beginning could lead to our end. Prometheus. This film is not yet rated.
Are you ready to walk?
You can't expect the world to be this quiet. Unless, of course, you're in the all-new Buick Verano. Quiet 2 technology. It's unprecedented and unexpected luxury in a car this size.
Applebee's new 2 for $20 menu is a total slam dunk.
The game's on behind me, right?
Yep. Come in tonight for our zesty Bourbon Street chicken and shrimp or our new blackened chicken pendant. 1 appetizer, 2 entrees, $20. Only at Applebee's. Now serving half-price appetizers late night.
San Diego State, football. Nebraska, baseball.
USC, soccer.
At Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we hire more new college graduates every year than any other company.
And many of us played college sports too.
Like me.
Like me. And me.
Now we're all on the same team.
Yours.
Enterprise is proud to be an official corporate partner of the NCAA. Teamwork. Let us show you what that means.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Baylor had 3 significant scoring droughts in that first half in Kentucky. One time peeled off 16 unanswered. Let's get back to your virtual madness. Clark, what have you discovered?
Well, we're going to take a look at the Wildcats again in transition. Double vision because Teague has to see that Terrence Jones is behind the defense, and Terrence Jones had to see that Teague was looking his way. So well done again. A poor job of getting back by Baylor, but excellent communication between Teague and Terrence Jones as Jones was running that lane and getting to the rim.
A 1-1 coming up for Lamb.
Talking about virtual madness and double vision from the Wildcats there. This could be virtually impossible for Baylor to make a run because of the foul situation. Kentucky in the bonus, Jim, at 11:54. When you're trying to come back, you've got to pressure defensively. You've got to gamble. You're going to probably commit some fouls. So any kind of rally you make from an offensive standpoint can be thwarted by sending a really good free throw shooting team to the foul line. Unless you can miraculously pressure an elite level team without fouling.
It's asking a lot.
A bunch.
Jones showing a little more aggression here in the last couple of trips. And he'll go to the line. The basket counts.
Yeah, he sure did. Right through the chest. Just backed Anthony Davis up. And you know that left knee bothering Anthony Davis, so not nearly able to be as strong in his defensive stance there. And Perry Jones III taking full advantage of it.
Not taking advantage of the free throw, so it's still Kentucky 17 up. And Kentucky beat Baylor for the national title back in 1948. It was a 58-42 final score. Almost on it. As Kid Gilchrist backs him in, and it's a charge.
Jay ran him over. He didn't just back him in, he put the bus on top of him.
Fourth foul, by the way, on Kid Gilchrist.
Watch this now. Gary Franklin in good position, and then he just lowered that left shoulder and knocked him right out of the way. So the fourth personal foul on Kid Gilchrist, as you said there, Jim. Every trip has to be a positive offensive trip for Baylor, either baskets or free throws. Can't afford empty possession.
And Anthony Davis says, I don't think so. His fourth block of the game. Gives him 173 on the season.
Just so hard to get up over him, especially when you're coming from a 6'1" vantage point.
How does that stack up in the school all-time stats? The previous best season of blocks at Kentucky. Andre Riddick and Mel Turpin each had 83 block seasons. This kid's at 173. Only 90 more. As Teague gets it over to Miller. Takes the shot. Dipsy-do. Shit. Lob. Jones was a good foot over that rim.
Boy, how about Perry Jones III really waking up and showing a lot more aggressiveness. One of the things people have wondered about with PJ3, he's such a really good teammate, a relatively young sophomore for his age, and sometimes he doesn't seem to bring the intensity that you'd expect, but it's certainly been here this second half.
Gilchrist did not sit long with the 4 fouls. He's coming back in. That is Pierre Jackson's third. No, PJ3 has 11 for the game, 9 in the half. And he committed to Baylor when he was a 9th grader. 1-1 coming here for Miller.
Well, it's so hard, Jim, sometimes when you're on the lead as well as big as Kentucky had to maintain your intensity and focus. Gilchrist headed back to the bench. Not sure what's going on there.
Well, he's checking in, then checked out.
Yeah. Apparently there may be some blood somewhere.
On the elbow.
Yeah. But I was starting to make the point that you can get a little lax, complacent when you've earned such an easy big lead, but that can play into the hands of the team trying to come back because you know they're going to be desperate, fighting, scratching, clawing. And I talked about it earlier. Being in the penalty will really diffuse this ability of Baylor to try to come back with defensive pressure.
Fourth foul on Franklin. And reminder, coming Sunday, April 15th, a new police drama from Robert De Niro and Jane Rosenthal. NYC 2-2. Only CBS. Lamb is going to make up for a scoreless first half.
He already has,
hasn't he?
Yeah.
Got 11. 2 shots.
And he is an excellent free throw shooter as A.J. Walton comes back in, Jim.
Heslip. Kentucky's had him well covered today.
Yeah, they've basically put the mute button on Brady Heslip.
Got 1 point.
And not even many looks. I can't recall more than...
Just one shot, 1 missed 3. Put him in the first half. That one rattles out.
I tell you what, a couple of stops and a pair of threes or some type of scores and things could get a little interesting. Trying to get it swung out of the double team. Perry Jones said, nope, I'm going to the hole myself.
Almost got that one to drop. Davis called for the foul, his 4th. And Jones is the one replay that is of the greatest concern.
And he took a shot there from the basket support, getting that knee massage. And he's not missed a lot of time since he came down awkwardly on that left knee, Jim.
And he's got 4 fouls. And will replace... Well, they'll take out Darius Miller. And they'll put Kid Gilchrist back out there with 4. 9:51 to go.
Well, it's obvious that Baylor is going to play through Perry Jones III. And he's been extremely assertive in this half in the low post. Full court pressure here by Baylor, and this is close to 5 seconds.
Timeout called by Kentucky. Biggest lead was 23, and it's down to 14.
Okay, look. When gas prices jump, you still gotta work. So suddenly you're cutting back on everything from family vacations to cell phone minutes. Well, here's a thought. How about cutting back on gas? Here's how. The Ford F-150. It gets 23 highway miles per gallon. That's the best. So you can get the job done and get a break at the pump. Yeah, how's that sound? This is the future. This is the Ford F-150.
When you have cable and can't record all your shows, you feel unhappy. When you feel unhappy, you go to happy hour. When you go to happy hour, you're up for anything. When you're up for anything, you head to a Turkish bathhouse. When you head to a Turkish bathhouse, you meet Charlie Sheen. And when you meet Charlie Sheen, you reenact scenes from Platoon with Charlie Sheen. Don't reenact scenes from Platoon with Charlie Sheen. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
America is facing some tough challenges right now. 2 of the most important are energy security and economic growth. North America actually has one of the largest oil reserves in the world. A large part of that is oil sands. This resource has the ability to create hundreds of thousands of jobs. At our Curl project in Canada, we'll be able to produce these oil sands with the same emissions as many other oils. And that's a huge breakthrough. That's good for our country's energy security and our economy.
Some movies are so powerful they earn a permanent place in your collection.
This horse can pull through anything.
Bring home the epic story of friendship and courage. War Horse, added to your collection on Blu-ray April 3rd.
Open up Pizza Hut's new $10 dinner box. All your favorites, all in one place. A medium one-topping pizza, freshly baked breadsticks, and cinnamon sticks. Plus marinara and sweet icing for dipping. Best of all, the $10 dinner box is only $10 and only at your Pizza Hut.
Bravo, Charlie, initiate launch sequence. Wide mouth is in position for resealable cap. Cap in place and locked. Commence final cooling. Minus 34 degrees. Mountains are blue. Silver bullet aluminum pint. You are clear for launch. Houston, we have refreshment. The silver bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light. The world's most refreshing beer.
Foul issues on each side with 4 fouls. Jim Nance and Clark Kellogg, Tracy Wolfson here. This warm-hearted city of Atlanta is in mourning this week with the loss of Furman Bisher, one of Atlanta's all-time leading ambassadors to the world of sports and decorated sports writer, some 62 years in his career with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He passed away this past week at the age of 93. And he is missed at every sports venue around the land. And his absence will be certainly felt down the road, down I-20 here in a couple of weeks down at Augusta. He was one of the all-time greats, Furman Bisher. Kentucky's going to face a little, well, not too much pressure as Baylor backs off after the inbounds pass.
See Baylor really doubling up in the shot attempts column this half. Part because they forced a few turnovers. Kentucky has been content to kind of try to milk the clock a little bit. Don't want to do too much of that too soon. Still got to attack.
Heslip is whistled for his third. Tonight on 60 Minutes, he's not only the best tennis player in the world, he's the most entertaining one, they say. Novak Djokovic, his life story, and it's an amazing life story. It's coming up tonight here on CBS.
Boy, he's had some type of run here the last couple of years. Djokovic, one of my favorites on the men's tennis tour. He's got a lot of game and personality to go with it.
Yes, he does. And the best is still to come.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's very much early in his prime,
yes,
based on the typical shelf life of a tennis pro. Right in the sweet spot.
Well, you get your era, you know. Yeah. You're Federer, you're Nadal, and Djokovic is going to have his, you've got to think. As Jackson puts up on top of the key.
Well, they need a couple of those to go down. And Jackson, a pretty good three-point shooter on the year. This ball going to stay with, well, let's see. Mike Stewart, Les Jones talking about it. Brian Kersey going to get into the discussion as well. We're headed right to Baylor. So let's take a look at it, see if we can discern. It was hard to see there.
How about those two?
That was comical, right?
That was a classic.
Baylor keeps it, though, and I was starting to say Pierre Jackson on the season has been a pretty good three-point shooter. About 39%, but he's 0 of 5 today.
Jones and AC kicks it out. Walton just inside the three-point arc.
For the Perry Jones, the third. Here's a look for Heslip.
This is his shot, and he hits it. Well, it's down to 13.
Baylor has to be able to defend without fouling. So that's going to be the critical thing the rest of the way in my estimation, Jim. Can they defend without fouling? Force Kentucky to have to make field goals, not free throws, the rest of the way.
Heslip's first basket of the game. As Lamb gives it up to Jones. Lamb, 7-second shot clock. Jones. Walton lets it go. AC rejects.
Only
2 seconds. That's it. Go ahead, partner. What do you do here?
Well, you got to get a quick look, but excellent defense by Baylor. Nice job by A.J. Walton to let him go and set him up for AC, and then AC let him get by him just a bit and then came from behind for the swipe. Now you've really got to make sure you don't foul if you're Baylor. Nothing unnecessary here. Make Kentucky catch it and shoot it over the top.
And the Baylor students feeling a little optimism at the moment as Miller does not get it away in time. A violation.
Had no time for the dribble there, especially if he was going to turn his back on the defender.
These kids who for $100 got the round-trip bus fare, 2 chartered buses, 13 hours from Waco to Atlanta. They got the hotel room and they got the game tickets.
If they would have thrown a funnel cake in there, it would have been heavenly.
Oh, I'm telling you, I like the deal.
That's a heck of a deal. Offensive foul on Perry Jones.
Baylor's not going to like this deal. This call as Jones is ready to take it to the basket again. We get the under 8 timeout. Kentucky, 63-50, trying to get to New Orleans.
This Italian BMT is amazing.
Like I'm in Italy.
Ciao. Dude, she was talking to me.
They're never talking to you.
What?
Never.
Get to Subway pronto for our fresh takes on Italian, like the Delizioso Italian BMT and the Molto Buono Chicken Parmesan. Subway, eat fresh.
Here's an apple and a gun. Don't talk to strangers. Shoot them.
He has a past.
Go!
He has an attitude.
Come on. People love me.
He has a mission.
There's been a massive takeover on Space Prison MS-1.
We can send in one man. Snow.
I'm thrilled that you would think of me.
We're gonna crash this prison to the ground.
Really?
Lockout. Rated PG-13. Starts April 13th.
It's so nice to spend time just you and me.
I know. This is great.
You know, I feel like... Did you just check the game on your phone?
What? No. What am I, like some kind of summoner who can just summon footage to his phone like that? Come on.
Guess I'm just a little oversensitive. It's just that you and
Yes.
Only AT&T's network lets your iPhone download 3 times faster. AT&T.
They say that with great power comes great responsibility. Well, when you own a Durango, you'll have tons of power, enough to tow up to 7,400 pounds. So owning a Durango means you now have the responsibility to go dirt biking, ATVing, motorcycling, boating, jet skiing, and show a Ford Explorer a thing or two about what it means to have best-in-class towing. The SUV is back.
The Amazing Race teams travel to the land of fire and find themselves underwater. A new Amazing Race, CBS tonight.
We're here to tell the world that we're coming to Vegas for the ACM Awards.
Forget the world. Tell him.
Just going to finalize these Final Four brackets today here on CBS with North Carolina and Kansas coming up after this one. Kentucky or Baylor. Of course, Kentucky leading by 13 at the moment. That potential Kentucky-Louisville national semifinal. You saw them play earlier this year on CBS.
I did see them back in December, right before the end of the year. Kentucky pretty much dominated the glass in that one, Jim, but Louisville, much different team now. I mean, that team under Rick Pitino. I thought when I was with them a couple of times in December, Jim, what stood out to me was how much they enjoyed playing with one another. They were going through some injuries, but Rick Pitino liked the fact that this team was fun to coach. They enjoyed playing for each other. They were with each other, and they were playing for each other and had good leadership internally, and they started to get healthier, and the improvement of Zhang and Peyton Siva's been outstanding. Russ Smith is a mercurial scorer. They just put it together at the right time, and that's a real big basket for Kentucky, and an easy one, too easy if you're Baylor.
Teague breaks almost a 5-minute stretch without a field goal. Yeah, that Louisville game was on December 31st, 69-62. Kentucky won by 7. And that was Jones III trying to hit from 3 and smashing in. No whistle. Jones with the rebound, and Baylor zooming up the court. Good fake. Jackson. Shot doesn't drop. Now Kentucky wanted to take it fast. Big Gilchrist. Coast to coast.
Big difference right there. 4-point turnaround. Layup missed by Baylor, and then Kid Gilchrist able to finish.
His first points of the second half. AC, left-hander, no, and it's going to be on Jones. His third. Well, Baylor sunk to 23 down and then started to get a whole lot scrappier than we saw in that first half.
Exactly. Showed a lot more fight. Got a big 3 here from Hessler to get it to 13, but since then, Kentucky has been able to score 2 layups.
And you saw Scott Drew as Jones will be at the line. Scott Drew quit playing basketball at the end of his sophomore year in high school. He went to Butler, and he was the student manager there for Coach Barry Collier. Boy, the Collier coaching tree was pretty significant. And when he was a student manager, talking about Scott Drew, the assistant coach to Barry Collier there was Thad Matta. That's right. Who's already reserved with his Ohio State Buckeyes for New Orleans next week. Jones follows it up and dunks it down.
That might do it. 3 straight layups after Baylor had cut this lead to 13. Kentucky was a bit out of sync, and then they get 3 hoops at the goal, and that's virtually inexcusable when a guy gets his own missed foul shot. You just don't see that happen.
And that wasn't even a long rebound, which makes it more inexcusable.
It hit the ground, right.
Turnaround shot by PJ3. Every time I say that, I want to say RG3. So, I wonder if there are any quarrels about. Hey, wait a minute, that's my brand. It's coming a little close. A little title infringement, and that's going to be on Heslop. This year, enjoy more madness with Coke Zero. Text 2013 to 26-53 for a chance to win a trip to next year's NCAA Men's Final Four, which will be right here in Atlanta inside this very Georgia Dome. And there is Archie. 3. Figures to be a member of the Washington Redskins here in about a month's time with their blockbuster trade with the St. Louis Rams to move up to the 2nd position.
Any chance he might move to the number 1 spot?
You never know, but it seems like Indianapolis is
locked into Andrew Luck.
Locked in with Luck.
Well, knowing, like you said, about a month.
Of course, that Coach Drew over there is such a Colts fan with his many years in Indiana. He named one of his sons Peyton. I just wanted to confirm, is that after Manning? He said, yes, he had a very good year that year. Well, what year didn't he have a very good year?
I was going to say the same exact thing.
And that's called on Darius Miller, his 2nd. Be a 1-and-1 for AC. We bring in the end of a very good career to a close here today. I love the way Quincy Acey, as Bello comes back onto the floor. How do you start your career? You know, you got to think you're a little bit nervous. Now, I know most of his shots are either dunks or right around the basket, but he made the first 20 field goal attempts of his career back 4 years ago. 20 for 20.
That's
What's
amazing.
so hard about this?
There's guys that could be in the gym by themselves could make 20 shots in a row.
AC with 22 today. 12 of them coming in this half.
Well, he epitomizes what you want to see in consistent effort and production. Quincy Acey. There he is battling Terrence Jones. Oh, he gave him the left side. Didn't drop step enough and played him. Didn't take away a strong hand.
So AC picks up his 3rd. I talked a couple of times about the fact these two tangled in Madison Square Garden for the national championship. Alex Groza led Kentucky to the title. And, you know, here's a great one for you. Of course, you trained in New York, and then they stayed around for an extra week, both teams did, to compete in the U.S. Olympic trials for the U.S. Olympic basketball team that was going on to London, where the 48 games were. And they met a week later. Kentucky and Baylor then played in the Olympic trials, and Kentucky beat them again on that occasion by about the same margin. But 5 Kentucky kids went on to then make the U.S. team, and Jack Robinson made it from the Baylor team, and Mr. Robinson is here in that whole fan base that you see behind us a number of times for Baylor today, watching his beloved alma mater. And there's Jackson getting the shot to go.
Take your time and execute if you're the Wildcats, and make free throws if and when you get fouled.
Before I get the Kentucky fans, and you never mentioned our Olympians off those teams, off that team. We're proud of them. And Terrence Jones scores. Cliff Barker, Ralph Baird, Alex Groza, Wawa Jones, and Ken Rollins. Heroes of Kentucky in their first national championship team, and Olympians as well. As Kentucky inside of 4 minutes has had this double-digit lead really most of the game.
Yeah, it's been under control pretty much from the start. After the little 5 and 4.5 minute surge that Baylor had to start the game, it's been all Kentucky since then.
Davis is calling for it, and Jones was there again. Those two when they're together. Hold your breath for a minute. Jones is going to be called for the foul. Been double figures since midway through the first half. Final 3:32 coming up in Atlanta.
Hey, Eddie, where's she going now?
Looks like the dry cleaner.
Dry cleaner.
The dry cleaner.
The all-new Buick Verano gives you Pandora music streaming.
You guys are on.
It started with a whisper.
So your music goes wherever you go. It's unexpected luxury in a car this size.
I can't believe she's listening to that noise.
You gotta vacate tonight. Titans, rated PG-13. Experience it in IMAX 3D March 30th.
Is it March monotony? March more of the same? No, it's March Madness, people. The most insanely exciting 4 weeks of hoops all year. So you gotta get ready. You gotta get the superior color and clarity of LG TVs to keep up. Score big savings on LG TVs and more in the Do March Right promotion. See you at lg.com/NCAA and your local retailer. Hurry, the clock's running down.
Say hello to Tiny Spock. I thought where you come from, they don't have emotions.
I come from a factory in Taiwan.
Leonard Nimoy on a new Big Bang Theory. Then Rules is back.
I left you a little message.
Hot sex? What the? So let the games begin. A new Rules of Engagement right after a new Big Bang Theory. CBS Thursday.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Applebee's, Capital One, Warner Brothers' Wrath of the Titans, and by Buick.
Coming up on CBS from St. Louis, the Midwest Regional Final. Two storied programs about to collide. Kansas and North Carolina, the final piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
Shaping up as a absolute monster gathering of four teams in New Orleans. And you're going to have, as Kentucky's all but put this one away, a Kentucky-Louisville rematch and all that goes with that heated rivalry. And on the other side of the bracket, you're talking about Ohio State against either one of those two.
Right.
I mean, it's
perhaps a rematch with Kansas, this time with Jared Sullinger. The Buckeyes and Jayhawks played in Lawrence back in December. Jared Sullinger sat that game out. And if North Carolina is able to advance, then you've got the Buckeyes and Tar Heels squaring off. So as you said, Jim, blockbuster matchups, no matter how you look at it, assuming Kentucky doesn't have a monumental collapse, and I can't see that happening. Timeout called in a 16-point game with just over 3 minutes left.
Timeout called by Baylor.
So what kind of car should I get? New or used? Used.
Now at Autotrader.com, compare new and used cars and even special offers. So when you find the right car, there won't be any doubt in your mind. Autotrader.com, the ultimate automotive marketplace.
Open up Pizza Hut's new $10 dinner box. All your favorites, all in one place. A medium one-topping pizza, freshly baked breadsticks, and cinnamon sticks. Plus marinara and sweet icing for dipping. Best of all, the $10 dinner box is only $10 and only at your Pizza Hut.
Jim Nance, Clark Kellogg, and Tracy Wolfson. I noticed that Bob Deacon and Bob Fishman and our crew in the truck, they have not advanced Kentucky to this point in the brackets. They're holding on a little bit longer.
Yeah, just a tad
We'll
longer.
wait and take their cue.
No question about it. With all of that experience in there, close to 60 years?
Oh, my gosh. The longest running battery, if you will, producer, director in the history of sports television, that's all. Is up ahead, Kid Gilchrist.
And Davis still on the floor. Somewhat to my surprise, Jim, but obviously the folks on the Kentucky staff feel like there's no risk of further injury and that Anthony Davis is fine, so he's still out there. And perhaps like our producer-director team, not quite thinking this one is over yet.
Exactly. Ball loose. That was Here's Jackson. Up ahead, Bello. Kid Gilchrist went up with him and made contact. 2:38 to go.
Well, that'd be it for Kid Gilchrist, I think.
Yeah.
And there it is. You got him on the hand there. You saw it.
What a first half he had as Kentucky absolutely took control of this thing from the opening minute. At 17 first half points, ended up with 19. And he has fouled out.
Kentucky substitution number 3, Terrence Jones.
Kid Gilchrist against Louisville back again on New Year's Eve day. This is something I know that tape's going to be broken down a few times. Both teams, by the way, went into that game ranked in the top 5 in the country. You had, in fact, Louisville was number 4, 69-62. Kid Gilchrist had 24 points and 19 rebounds.
Anthony Davis had all 18 of his points and 5 of his 6 blocks in the second half. I can recall in that second half, Jim, Louisville continued to try to attack the rim, and Anthony Davis just had none of it. But as I said earlier, a totally different Louisville team now. Guys are really established in their roles, healthy, confident, and a fun team to watch.
His numbers were career-high numbers for points and rebounds.
You know, you think about that matchup, Jim, Kentucky-Louisville and all its tradition and history and the intensity of the rivalry, that familiarity could be
an equalizer.
I think it could be advantageous for a team like Louisville.
Bello cradles it, ball comes out. Walton wants to squeeze it up and in, but Teague has the rebound. Well, there's Davis in another collision. This time he got smacked in the face.
Gary Franklin, the guy that committed that foul. Both guys, good gesture of sportsmanship both ways. And there you see the collision and the hand to the face.
I'm just watching out for the legs every time now.
I know. Everybody is.
You know, you do have to wonder. We'll talk to Coach Cal after the game how much playing time and how long he kept Davis in there.
Yeah, it's a bit puzzling. As I sit here, and we've talked about it, I'm not the coach, though, and I'm certainly not Anthony Davis, but I would have had him next to me when this game was under control, as it's been most of this half, throughout most of the game, really.
Kentucky about to shoot its 71st free throw.
You know, coming into this game, Jim, they had taken 286 more free throws than the opponent and had made 231 more. So no surprise that they've really exploited that free throw line to their advantage.
Baylor off the basket, calls timeout at 75-61. 1:43 left.
Few who move toward the sounds of chaos. Forged in the crucible of training, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
Another look at virtual madness here on the free throw line. One of those guys is supposed to block out the shooter. It's a basic fundamental in basketball. Does not happen at all. And Terrence Jones over the top of the smaller Walton. I thought that ball, when it first happened, I thought it had hit the floor. But Terrence Jones caught it in the air and then went right to the goal with the dribble.
Baylor has one timeout left. Coach Drew calling that one off a made basket. And that's a little too tight. Little bump by Bello will send Teague down to the other line to shoot 2. Here are the highlights off of that meeting. It was going to be a rematch in the national semifinal.
Yeah, Russ Smith was scintillating. He had 30. It was only a 3-point deficit for Louisville at halftime, Jim. But then Ken Gilchrist, Anthony Davis dominated action in the paint. And the Wildcats pulled away in that second half.
Oh, listen to this.
News, breaking news.
News from the truck. Kentucky has been officially advanced in the brackets. I guess it's not official for another minute, 37 seconds. But Kentucky, Louisville, talked about it on Friday night. See it coming, you know, when you had your brackets. I saw it early. Is it possible? No one could have planned it this way. But their 3 biggest non-conference rivals, talking about Kentucky, could in fact be on the road to the championship. Yeah. Still got, you know, North Carolina's one of those 3. Of course, Kansas isn't a bad rivalry either. They've already beaten Indiana. We'll take care. Well, we'll be right back.
Yards on the drive.
Why do we always have to take your mom's car?
The security of a Tiguan, one of 9 Volkswagen models named a 2012 IIHS top safety pick.
From 68 down to 5.
Boy, it goes fast.
And again, Kentucky facing the in-state rival Louisville next. And potentially, to get past that game, could be North Carolina. Those are the 3 they play. You know, when we were in Lexington early in the year, they're talking about dropping one of those 3 rivals.
I know.
You know, either North Carolina, Louisville, or Indiana. And that has a lot of folks upset about that talk. But you're going to start to, I believe, hear a lot about the rivalry run, as I've dubbed it here. The rivalry run to the championship. So the next leg of that is coming up. And, of course, Louisville's going to present quite a challenge for them in New Orleans.
Plenty of headwind for the Wildcats from the Cardinals. We can count on that.
December the 3rd is when they played the 31st against Louisville. The highlights we saw, December the 3rd, North Carolina. So that it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Carolina and Kansas.
I agree there, Jim. Kansas, again, the perimeter players haven't played as well recently as they did during conference play. Speaking of Tyshawn Taylor, Elijah Johnson.
Going to get a little boost, though, from the bodies in the seats there today.
Oh, yeah. It'll be similar to what we had here. Pretty much a home environment for the Wildcats.
And Lamb a little long with that one. That slip comes back in for Bello.
It'll be the same in St. Louis for Kansas, I would imagine. But sometimes that can work against you, Jim. With the stakes so high, being in an environment where you are expected to feel comfortable and have the fan support on your side, that can galvanize the opposition in a way that can be problematic at times, especially when you're an evenly matched opponent.
Look at little Pierre Jackson go up and dunk that at 5'11" is what they list him.
Yeah, that's generous. That's a program height. Yeah, that's a program height. But he never really had a chance to get to the lane earlier. And as you look at the Baylor Bears getting to the Elite Eight for the 2nd time in 3 years, and will have the season end at the same point in time. Terrific accomplishment, though, for this program.
Well, Coach Drew is saying, hey, miss a couple more field goals here, Kentucky, and you might have to
sweat it out a little bit.
Might have to rework those brackets. So Lamb, he just missed 2. But what a job this gentleman's done right here. Brought in at the age of 32 9 years ago to fix a broken program that had sanctions and, of course, the murder tragedy within the team. What happened before he had gotten there? It's just out of control, and he came in and developed this now into a program that's twice in 3 years been just a game away from the Final Four. Making his father proud for sure. His father, of course, a legendary coach all those years at Valpo, Homer Drew. He's here today. Jackson with a three and swishes it. It's it to 10.
This is one that'll look a lot closer than it really was, and that may be an offensive foul on Deron Lamb. It is.
And there is Homer and his wife, Janet. And Scott's wife is there as well, Kelly.
There you saw him got the shoulder down and extended the chicken wing just a bit.
There's Jones. That would have been actually made things quite interesting had he made that at 40-some-odd seconds. He's got blood on his lip.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, that was that foul earlier when he got smacked in the face inadvertently by
He might
Gary
have taken
Franklin.
a shot on that defensive play there, Jim. I mean, Perry Jones III went into him pretty good. He may have taken a shot then. It's been a bumpy day for Anthony Davis. He's taken a couple of spills, had that awkward landing on the left knee, but seems to be, actually, as he stayed out there, Jim, he's moved noticeably better.
He's got his usual double-double in this kind of game you expect him as far as blocks. He averages 5 a game. 16 and 10. Another double-double. He's got the Wayman Tisdale Award. That's the United States Basketball Writers Association Freshman of the Year Award.
Also Player of the Year, the Oscar Robertson.
No, you know, I love Oscar Robertson. Great gentleman. I think he would even like it too. Just call it the Oscar. He won the Oscar. Okay. He won an Oscar.
I'm not in. I would vote for that.
Okay. There you go.
With that. I would be fine with that.
Quincy Acey heads to the bench, and Davis delivers the two. Well, the Oscar Robertson Award is for the National Player of the Year. Tremendous accomplishment for the freshman. And Kentucky swats away another shot. It's going to be for Kentucky. Its 109th all-time NCAA tournament win, which will, at the time being, right now will give them one more NCAA win than North Carolina.
Right, came in today tied. There's Quincy Acey. You see the emotion. It's a combination of this season ending, but also the college career. Final game that he'll represent the Baylor Bears in. Never experienced that, Jim, as I left school a year early to pursue my dream of being an NBA player, but it's always really emotional for me to watch these seniors finish up their careers. Anthony Davis going to take a seat. He actually will have another game for sure next week in New Orleans, perhaps two.
Jackson gets Wiltshire to commit. He's got another dunk. Miller go. Kentucky's first ever NCAA tournament game was in 1942, and it took place in New Orleans. And now they're heading back. The Big Blue to the Big Easy. Kentucky and Louisville set for next Saturday. Ohio State will take on the winner of the North Carolina-Kansas game, which is coming up here on CBS. For Clark Kellogg and Tracy Wolfson, this is Jim Nance saying so long from Atlanta. Again, the Midwest Regional Final, Jayhawks and Tar Heels, is up next. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports on the road to the Final Four. And we'll send you to the Capital One NCAA Tournament CBS Sports Desk after these messages.